We live. We live. It hasn't detected Limbus company. There we go. There we go. I was in the middle of doing a mare dungeon to get an achievement out of the way. But it's reading hours. Uh... Let's go in. After the battle. Something sits ill with me. Amid the sprawl of Escorp's backstreets distorted with a flash, Engdu had her gaze fixed somewhere high overhead. And at the end of her gaze, are those photographs? A long line stretched across the open air, photographs hanging from it like laundry clipped to a clothesline. I mistook it for a Kumjul at first, and gave it little attention. Yet upon closer look, I saw those pictures hanging from the line. Perhaps they had been strung within a dark room and remained dust when the distortion took hold. Bizarre. Observation of unaffected elements in the space occupied by a location-type distortion is most irregular. Indeed, the items reborn from the studio have already changed into images of various sites of Escorp, yet these alone remain as they were. Let's take them down and check them ourselves. Just as I was wondering if the line was perhaps too high for me to reach, Mersal stepped forward and plucked a few photos off it, and the instant he brought them to me, we heard another pop, and again, a bright white flash blinded my vision for a moment. The lights are on. Good grief, this distortion likes to change its mind, huh? It keeps switching between Escorp and Encorp. This feels like getting caught in a flashbang detonation. My whole body tenses up, then goes slack right after. The other sitters are busy grumbling about the distortion and its sudden jumps, except for Mersal, who stood right in front of me with the photos still held out in his hand. Oh, you didn't drop them? No. It was the usual short answer, and returned his attention to the cylinder he had been shaking. He took the film out of the container and flicked the liquid off it with clean, controlled motions. Is the processing finally done? Wait, we're back here with the lights on now. Is it okay to take the film out? Yes. Exposure to light will not damage the film once development is complete and the image is fixed. There is no cause for concern. That's a relief. I couldn't say I followed all the technical details, but no cause for concern was all I needed to hear. Sighing in relief, I held up the photograph so I could take a proper look. So, see anything out in there, Manager Bud? There are people in them. The people in these photographs all look different from one another. If I had to pick one similarity between them, though, they all look cold and indifferent. Yep, that's the city, alright. Ordinary folks you'd see anywhere. These aren't like the photos we picked up at the studio earlier. Are these the kind of photographs they used to make canned experiences? What was that? The scenery around us seemed to ripple just now. I was about to ask Faust if she also felt a strange sensation, but it faded away soon enough. Perhaps it's nothing serious. Maybe it was just a spell of random vertigo? Is it even possible to get dizzy when I've got a clock for a head? No. Marsal must have noticed that I was out of sorts for a moment because he seemed to pause on purpose before answering my question. No? Like you said, docugraphers take these photos to put into canned experiences. Raw ingredients for canned experience are handled exclusively by the Grand Magus. Magus Incisif. There's no method for external parties to access them. Sissif. What? Oh, I think I've heard of it. Canned experiences, right? In high demand in other districts too. But the only brand stamped on them is Grand Magus Incisif. Same name every time. I remember some of my classmates bragging about trying them whenever exam weeks came around. Never had one myself though. Can't really explain it, but something about them just feels kind of wrong. It's that popular, huh? The unprocessed base content of canned experience, known as experience batter, is applied to reprocessing factories, where docugraphers fine-tune the experience details. Photographs are primarily used for that purpose. They can fine-tune experience? An easier example for understanding would be to consider why docugraphers take pictures of subjects such as buildings. A purchaser may wish to experience living in a luxurious building that they could never afford. Another may wish to vent out impulses of violence by experiencing the burning of an expensive property. Demand for haute couture canned experience is increasing by day. So that's why the photos from earlier were all fancy buildings. Yes, manager. Conversely, information concerning ordinary experience that can easily... My teeth feel wrong. Conversely, information concerning ordinary experience that can be easily encountered in reality is in low demand. Then why photograph these residents at all? Perhaps these were not images harvested for their commodity value, but pure photography in and of itself. Mayhap they have been captured for a desire to seize a vanishing instant through a lens. There are people who take photographs knowing that it would cost an exorbitant sum. I have seen some before. A staggering amount of money just to take a single photo. That is, if they could even manage to find a photographer who'd take the risk and help take the picture. I'm not so crass as to put a price on sentiment and nostalgia, but spending this much money on film rolls, what could have made this investment worth it? I'd say... maybe this isn't just a matter of sentiments, or memories even. Leafing through the photographs, I quietly express my thoughts. Executive manager? I'm not exactly an authority on distortions, but I know they manifest through desires or emotions that become warped in bizarre ways. But everything that distortion has shown us so far points back to S-Corp. That is, the S-Corp from the past that only Kim and Engdu would have seen and remembered. These photos, though, they're completely untouched by a distortion. Doesn't that feel off? There must be a strong fixation at play here, strong enough to slip past even a distortion. And if that obsession is something that refuses to let these memories be influenced, I think our next step should be to look for the people in these photos. These photographs are the only undistorted, unaltered clues we have. Dante says it would be advisable to locate the people shown in these photographs. Ooh, good idea. Team leader did say that we should accept input from the LCB with open arms. Hey, Engdu, can you get me the office catalog? We'll probably need to commission an office affiliated with 7 Association. Let's look for one that can take the request right away. Can someone tell Ezra we're fine? I think I know where to find those people. Dante says one of the people shown in the photographs has already been found. What? When? How? Oh, guess I'm just having a lucky day. Pulled the radio from my waist and switched it on without answering Ezra's question. DWRC. I think she said, "Do we regroup, clock?" That one was especially hard to understand, Ryoshu. Rhodia's with you, right? Can you put her on? Okay. Rhodia, you there? What? Not too much talk? One sec. I kinda went overboard with the bread and pastries. My hands are completely full over here. Pastries? What kind? Just one of everything. Neat. Can you grab a chubby ocean baguettes for me too? Love the ones on that street, they're so good. Hang on, I gotta readjust the pile if I wanna... Just throw them on TF. They're packaged. Yo, shoo, you can't treat food like that, okay? Bakers have feelings too, you know? How do you think the baker would feel if they knew someone was treating their precious babies like trash? This scabbard is rattling again for no reason. Anyways, Dante, can you give me a sec if you need me to fight? I just need to cram these into my pockets real quick. No, it's not a fight. Huh? What's this about? Take a closer look at the words written on the wicker basket in the first photograph Marcel had brought me. Where's that bakery you're at? Cans. Oh, I know who you're looking for. The owner of the bakery was a woman holding the same wicker basket as the one in the photograph. She took one glance at the picture I held up for her and gave a quick nod. This man, he works in Cannery 17 right next. He's a regular. He used to drop by every morning to buy sandwiches and share with his coworkers. Haven't seen him around lately, though. Oh. Okay. And those coworkers, I assume they were wearing the same uniform? Asking a question on my behalf, Otis showed the baker another photograph. Probably? He was always wearing one too. I guess it's the cannery's uniform. This confirms our lead, Executive Manager. A few inquiries at that cannery should bring us to the information we need. Yeah, you're right, but... It's just that she doesn't seem very concerned at all. She's one of the people in the photos that weren't affected by the distortion, right? Well, she'd be a close acquaintance. Allow me to verify, Executive Manager. Do you know the name of this regular you spoke of? His name? Am I supposed to know that? I wasn't expecting her to actually know his name. The apathy evident in her voice gave me pause. He took a photo of you. Wouldn't it be reasonable to assume that you're well acquainted with him? Oh, that. He's like a drug dealer, isn't he? Can dealer. The baker's demeanor changed when Otis pressed the point. She gave a strange, unsettling smile before pulling something from her apron basket. A thin and round, can-like object. He said he'd give me 5 of these canned experiences for free if I let him take my picture. Even said he'd throw in the docugraph for the building of my choice. He docugraphs buildings, right? I hear he even takes work trips to the nest every now and then, so he asked him to give me a docugraph of this lovely mansion I saw by the nest suburbs. You know, I'll never get to afford a beautiful place like that, but this way I could at least experience what it's like. The shit was everything I'd ever hoped for. Couldn't quite put my finger on it, but there was a distinct eeriness to that dreamy, blissful smile on the baker's face that sent a chill down my spine. Young Marceau, are these kind of experiences truly possessed of such marvels, to pluck all semblance of reason from one's countenance? They maintain high demand across the city. District 14 is only one of several markets. Dost thou mean that those who indulge in canned experiences may experience venturing on an expedition to the Great Lake and bungee jumping off the summit of that skyscraper yonder as they remain seated where they are? They may. However, a magic can, allowing one to pursue any dream the heart may conceive. Verily, I confess mine own soul is much tempted. It differs from pursuing a dream. It's that expression again. The remark. Mass-produced canned experiences are made from base experience matter mixed with various modified information. The resulting end product enables an intense stimulation through altered memory. Therefore, it is unlike the dream as expressed by Don Quixote. A piece of memory refined along the numerous processing stages of the cannery's production lines is not equivalent to genuine experience, meaning the usage of experience in a previous statement must also be amended. Memory is altered for intense stimulation. That does sound quite shady. What happened to you, Marcel? How doth this cast a shade upon the boons granted by the Khan? Adventures and tales are, forsooth, inclined toward a little grandeur. It is because the memories provided by Khan experiences are extremely vivid. Statistics have shown that users of cans interpret them as authentic experiences and become dependent on them. A possible cause of the formation of dependence patterns in that canned experiences allow one to feel as if one has achieved a dream that is, in reality, impossible. The canned experience of shooting a man? Art thou implying that the users are made content with devouring forged dreams stored in instant-use cans? Worse still, the user may no longer strive to chase dreams in the waking world. For the sweeter and more splendidly a dream is embellished, the more impossible it will appear to be grasped with one's own hands. To become a cause for surrender, instead of inciting one to march forth, verily doth it not annul the significance of dreaming itself? If the resulting dream rouseth not the spirit to gallop toward it. Whether that indulges significance, I cannot know. But they sell well. So, how much will you be buying? Buy what? I came barging in with all these questions, and I was patient enough to answer them politely, wasn't I? How do you think you owe me a sale or two? You're not about to leave without buying a single loaf after crowding at my bakery and scaring off my customers, are you? Your case was on point, actually. With our whole group gathered around, the passerby gave us a wide berth and hurried on, whispering among themselves. Nobody was about to come in and buy bread like that. Come on, lady, I practically cleared your shelf already, didn't I? You did? What the hell are you keeping all that, then? You even gotta ask? Of course I had some already. And the rest is safely tucked in my coat pockets, so we can all share later. So you already ate some. Let's buy a little more. It's true we scared off the other customers. Understood. Given that expense is made to facilitate its operation, the lack of prior budgeting should not pose a problem. Oh, nice. Why are you here? Oh, nice. Sesame rice bun for me, please. It was Kim. He really did have a knack for making an entrance at the least expected moments. Hey, mister! Where have you been this whole time? Wait. Be cross with me all you like, but just give me a moment. Ezra paused, waiting in puzzled anticipation. Only for Kim to take a sesame rice bun from the baker's hands and chomp into it. Alright. I'm ready. Freaking waste of bread! Ezra's angry fist drove straight into Kim's solar plexus, holding him to the ground like a crumpled sack of potatoes as he rolled away. At this rate, the owner might start charging us for the whole bakery next, roof and all. Best get away from here. Manager. Salt approached me as we walked down the street, Ezra and Kim still squabbling behind us. He was holding a roll of something brown and tightly coiled. I have completed development of the film, per your instruction. Oh, so this is the film in that canister you were shaking. Do I just unroll it? Hold it up against the sun or other sources of light. As it is a reversal film, the images should be visible as they were photographed. I had no idea what a reversal film meant, but I did as he said and unrolled the film. Okay, I can see it. Huh, that's pretty cool. Oh, is it showing? Can I see too? Move it over a bit, let me have a look too. It was hard to make out the details because the images were too small, but I could still tell the strip was packed with almost identical pictures. Is this the same person in every shot? In the same pose in all of them? Huh, you're right. No, wait a second. See the arm here? The further along the strip you go, the lower it gets. Yeah, and the head looks like it's turning to the right. Huh? We're all squinting at the tiny frames in the film when Sinclair suddenly flinched and went stiff, like he'd seen something he shouldn't have. A second later, all color drained out of his face. Sinclair? What's the matter? This reminds me of something I learned in school. You draw a picture in the corner of a stack of notes or a thick book, in the exact same spot on every page. You start with the arms down, then you make one small change on each page. Nudge the arms up higher and higher until they're raised all the way up. And when you flip the pages fast enough, the drawings stop looking like separate images. The still figure starts moving. A class was called... Why are you freaked out for Introduction to Motion Pictures? I remember the teacher saying that video footage we watch all made the same way. Are you saying that this is... It's a continuous sequence of still images? The arrangement of the frame suggests that this film strip is highly... The arrangement of the frame suggests that this film strip is highly likely to constitute footage, a violation of N-Corp's taboo. Oh boy. Where is it? Where is it? Boys. Shoot. Do I? Because I claimed the tickets. I probably should. Look, I'm... Is this just it? Another announcer? More thread for me. No Ishmaels.
그대, 이 검이 필요하오.
Oh, crap! As soon as I registered Mersault's words, my hand reflexively threw the film to the ground. Are we going to be agreeing? We might have just broken a taboo. My mind began to race, rapidly traveling back through our journey, specifically to the time when Don Quixote had smashed that window at K-Corp and caused the wing to wipe out our team multiple times over. I felt faint. At least we had Virgilius with us then. It ended up being not that big of a deal at the end of the day since I could revive the sinners, but... Some mess taboos can get us in serious trouble just for carrying anything that has to do with them, can't they? I hurriedly turned toward the sinners, many of whom looked every bit as troubled as I felt. Still, a few of them expressed a casual lack of concern, citing all the crazy things we've gone through so far. Miss Faust, what'll happen to us if this gets the manager killed? Okay, so this is it, huh? Stop freaking out, guys. You're not dying, and we'll be fine. N-Corp's not gonna kill you on the spot just for possessing a film roll. Really? Well, it might be a problem. The film roll does contain genuine recorded footage, but it's not like you guys had a hand in filming it, right? When NCorp dudes get here to pick it up, just comply with their commands, thank them for their service, and nicely hand it over to the authorities, and everything should be A-okay. So there's a possibility that everything will not be okay. Eh? Because I have developed the contents of that film roll in that dark room. Oh. The court will take the lack of intentionality into consideration. However, it is very likely that my actions will be deemed as aiding the primary violator of the ticket. Really? But team leader said that NCorp has their own regulatory standards regarding image quality, which they use to determine the severity of taboo violation. If the footage's image quality or frame rate is within their regulations, NCorp won't be sticking their fixers on our butts right away. And that could buy us time, or give our company some leverage to make a deal, however small it might be. Because what they're really sniffing around is for how close to reality the video is, or how close of an experience it provides to real life. So even if we're really, really unlucky and they actually come after us, it's going to be fine as soon as the footage has low fidelity. Probably. So, what exactly does frame rate within regulations entail? It means that the interval between each frame shouldn't be, like, super brief. Think about photo slideshows. They only show you one image every few seconds, so it doesn't feel real or vivid, right? You technically call them motion pictures, but there's no vividness required to violate their taboo. Then, let us analyze this film roll and see how vivid it really is. Mersalt, I trust that you are knowledgeable in subjects concerning NCorp, yes? Cooperate. Could this film roll be considered a violation of the taboo? Otis picked the film roll from the ground and showed it to Mersalt. That cannot be determined, unless each frame is thoroughly analyzed and compared with adjacent. Without waiting for Mersalt to finish, Otis unrolled the film roll and raised it against the sky. The rest of you get over here, we must analyze these frames. The film canister was labeled Experiment, so I assume the culprit had created this as a test run of sorts. An experiment to see how close they could get to violating a taboo, and testing the limits of the law. May even be a mere collection of similar photographs that are pretending to be recorded footage. Sinners all gather around Otis and look up toward the unrolled film in unison. Here. The flower pot moves between frames, doesn't it? The docu-refer couldn't possibly have moved the pot while also holding on the shutter button. I don't see any difference. See here. The expression risen from on the suspect's visage appears rather stiff. Maybe they're just a gloomy sort. Perhaps. Yet observe closer. The stiffness arises not from gloom, but from strain to maintain it. Ooh, if that's the case, maybe the subject really is trying to fake an actual footage by moving very, very slowly. That's a pretty convincing theory, but I'm not sure if that's enough to conclude that we're in the clear just yet. That's when bamboo-headed Kim, who had been sprawled on the ground ever since Ezra punched him, stepped into the conversation. Let's see. Look at that shadow cast on the windowsill. See how it noticeably shifts between each frame? Whoever made this knows a cast for sure, but I can't imagine a backstreet's dweller would have any way to mess with the sun's trajectory. Then, the likely scenario must be that the creator of this film deliberately made its subject move very slowly from frame to frame, creating a series of disconnected photos that, when played sequentially, would look like footage that violates the taboo. In which case, this film roll does not violate the Nest taboo, correct? That is highly probable. So he says, Executive Manager, we should be in the clear for now, at least in regards to aiding the violation of Owing's taboo. But if he was willing to go through this much trouble just to test NCorp's patience, it's hard to believe that he'd have stopped there. Based on all available evidence, Executive Manager, it seems reasonable to conclude that the inflection point of this case is a taboo violator on the run. Huh. But what motive would they have to do that? Sure, working for a Wing subsidiary has nothing on being an actual Wing employee, but it's still pretty up there when it comes to careers available in the back streets. Work for a subsidiary long enough, and you might even get transferred to a factory job in a Nest. That gives you a pretty okay chance at a better life, so... Maybe he was just tired of living that kind of life. Everyone has one of those days, don't they? The sudden feeling that you could be doing more than live the rest of your life in 9 to 5 hell. You try to do something that takes you away from the pressure of trying to make a life. Something about what Ishmael said must have tickled bamboo-headed Kim, because he suddenly whipped around toward her and shook his head. Maybe, but how many of those people do you think are capable of throwing away everything they've built on a whim? From what I've seen, maybe our culprit just likes to play with fire. Play with fire? Yeah. Also started by doing something that technically doesn't count as taboo, and inched an inch on and on until he brushed thrillingly close to one. One thrilling shot through this camera and another with the next. Until eventually, he ended up recording actual footage. Cool. Then that leaves the question of what the heck was he trying to do with it? Might have been trying to screen it using a projector for all of this part of the backstreets to see. What? But then wouldn't that make everyone here, even those who unwittingly came across the projection? Right on. It'd have made those folks violators of the taboo. But why would anyone... So, would you care to explain how you know that, Mr. Breadbrain? I asked around on the opposite street, and apparently some guy has been going around asking the workshops if they could make him a projector. Seemed like most of them turned him down, but they also said that he stopped showing up after a certain point. Dare to guess that he got his hands on a projector somehow. Alas, is it not a taboo or FinCorp to view recorded videos? Pray tell, why would any insane mind? Well, it ain't taboo if you only made a projector, innit? Backstreet's blokes are down for anything long as that going. Huh. So, how do we track this guy down? Multiple individuals in the same garb as the Pintrim team have just been identified in the vicinity. They're all carrying the same briefcase. Oh! Well, isn't that convenient? Maybe we can play this like a festival or a convention and just tell people who look like they're involved with what we're looking for, so they'll lead us to wherever we need to go. Indeed. In architecture conventions, there'll be those in formal plaid shirts and suspenders milling about. I could always trust them to lead me to the convention venue. Ah. And was it common for those plaid shirt fellas to look around like they're scanning the area? They also go around checking people against photographs. Collect evidence. Please and... collect evidence. Please advise for... They also radioed each other, glaring at people. Glaring at people like they're glaring at... Huh? Perhaps you could answer that series of queries yourself. Nope. This crowd sure don't look like they're gonna let us follow them.
동주상구 같은 배를 탔으니 돕긴 도와야겠지. 물론 나 말고 앵두가.
모두도 도우셔야 합니다. 모지스 아씨가 눈 감아준다고 자꾸 그렇게 농땡이를 부르시면 저는 눈물을 머금고 다른 두 분께 이 사실을 즐겁겠군!
Oh boy. You're doing nothing. Okay, there we go.
실로 군더더기였군.
물러서지 않겠습니다.
숨을 거두랴.
모두께서도 저런 위험을 보이시며 배워야 할 것을 뵐 때가 있었지요.
침착한 결과입니다.
과거는 과거일 뿐이지.
아름다운 것,
본격 제일검조차 아니었던 내게
같지 않은 것.
자랑할 만한 유형이 뭐 있다고.
배워냈어요.
혹시 아냐? 나도 앵두 너처럼 새검 하나 생기면
필요하십니까? 그럼 사드려야죠. 값을 받고 빚이라도 내서 제일 좋은 검으로 하나 장만해 드리면 됩니까?
앵두야, 네가 하면 농이 아니라 진담 같으니 부디 그러지 말았으면 좋겠구나. 검은 지금 것으로 충분하다.
죄를 새겨주겠어.
달빛이 발사하여 그 몸까지 갈진 너를
오호라. 나가 이주원 사만님 보는 재미가 탁월하구나.
확실하게 갈라지는 감각이었네. 그 주전부리는 어디서 가져오신 겁니까?
혈이 남자.
이거 말이냐?
여기 있는 귀물들의
착한
가격이
결과입니다.
얼마인 줄 알고 부스러기를 그렇게...
깨지기 전에 되겠어.
대전!
They somewhat resemble the black fixers from Lobotomy Corporation.
생각이 많아지니 저런 실수도 나오는구나.
물러서지 않겠습니다.
비껴 베어버렸군.
흉터의 결과요.
귀하들이라면 능히 이길 것이라 우두? 벌써 어딜 가십니까?
개가 할 필요도 없어 보이니 방에 가서 세상 돌아가는 모습이나 보려 한다.
승부수가 먹혀들었군. 판세는 완벽히 우리에게 있었다.
Alright,
정착지를
big
찾을
money.
때까지 이 기세를 잃지 않기를.
And 1300 lunacy. Let's see. Oh, could be it. I don't think that's ego. Come on. I don't want to wait a week. Pursuit.
꽃을 피워볼까요?
귀하들의 전투는 늘 낭부를 불러오지. 기대하겠네.
어디
죄를 새겨주겠어.
기록 좀 볼까?
반듯한 일격이었어. 실로 군더더기였군.
수인가?
Hey, I get straight up the stagger.
그래, 그게 정석이지.
즐겁겠군.
Ooh, it's not looking good this time.
귀하들이 살뜰리는 전투를 좋아하는 건 알겠는데, 그래도 살릴 수 있는 돌은 살리는 게 낫지 않나 싶군.
물러서지 않겠습니다.
참 숨을 거두리라.
추풍 낙엽. 분명히 싸워도 낙엽은 반드시 떨어지니. 당연한 결과일 테요.
망설임이 없도록.
모두께서도 저런 위험을 보이시면 배워야 할 것을 뵐 때가 있었지.
과거는 과거일 뿐이지. 본적 제일검조차 아니었던 내게 자랑할 만한 이유이 뭐 있다고. 혹시 아냐? 나도 행도 너처럼 세금 하나 생기면
필요하십니까? 그럼 사드려야죠. 값을 받고 빚이라도 내서 제일 좋은 검으로 하나 장만해드리면 됩니까?
행도야. 네가 하면 농야니를 진담 같으니 부디 그러지 말았으면 좋겠구나. 검은 지금 것으로
망설임이 없도록. 혈이 난자오.
달빛이 밝다. 그 문까지 갈지 너를
오호라. 나가 시원시원한데 보는 재미가 탁월하구나.
우두. 이 주전부리는 어디서 가져오신 겁니까?
응? 이거 말이냐?
여기 있는 귀물들의 가격이 얼마인 줄 알고 쓰러기를 그렇게...
죄를 새겨주겠어.
아름다운 것. 그렇지 않은 것. 속 펀치!
대안에게 충분합니다.
혈이 난자오.
앵두야, 왜 갑자기 아무 말도 않는 건지 궁금하구나.
덧붙일 말이 없을 만큼 형세가 유리해서 그랬습니다. 심심하시면 시라도 짓게 운이라도 띄울까요?
아니, 됐다. 조용히 있어.
즐겁겠군!
앵두야, 왜 갑자기
야.
아무 말도 않는 건지 궁금하구나.
죄를 새겨주겠어.
나야! 덧붙일 말이 없을 만큼 형세가 유리해서 그랬습니다. 심심하시면 시라도 짓게 운이라도 띄울까요?
아니, 됐다. 조용히 있어. 앵두야, 왜 갑자기 아무 말도 않는 건지 궁금하구나.
물러서지 않겠습니다.
덧붙일 말이 없을 만큼 형세가 유리해서 그랬습니다. 귀하들이라면 능히 이길 것이라 우두? 벌써 어딜 가십니까?
개가 할 필요도 없어 보이니 방에 가서 세상 돌아가는 모습이나 보려 한.
승부수가 먹혀들었군. 판세는 완벽히 우리에게 있었다. 정착지를 찾을 때까지 이 기세를 잃지 않기를.
It's more thread. That I could uptie you. Pursuit 2. Ooh. Ooh, new thing. New thing.
별일 수 있는 기회겠죠?
Hardly a challenge. What a WOT. Waste of time. Whew. At least they're not much of a fighter one-on-one. Servidiclo is not a combat specialized department. While they have all undergone basic combat training for exigent circumstances, they're not prepared for head-on conflicts such as this. Yeah, I noticed. They kept taking pictures of us with their briefcases. I'm guessing that's their primary job description? What are they snapping away for then? Whispering behind our backs like a load of creeps. Collecting photos to include in the report for the higher-ups, I'd wager. Kinda see how they could think we're involved in this somehow. Every time they followed a lead, they ended up encountering us. Hardly a surprising rationale. Marcel stood a footstep away from the rest of the sinners and watched in silence. They tried to come up with an explanation. What is he thinking? What is it that he wishes to say? Or is he simply contemplating, observing without any preconceived notions in his mind? Silence shouldn't have been any different from his usual reticence, but as though by some chance or whim. Hey, Marcel? I was struck by a sense of brief yet distinct strangeness. I was compelled to speak with him. Yes, manager. Don't hesitate to let me know if there's something you want to say, but aren't sure if you're supposed to say it. Yes, manager. I will do as you ordered should one such circumstance occur. As always, his reply was as deflatingly concise and direct, as though he had some rule of his own that told him this was the specific response for situations like these. Okay, but I'm talking about right now, actually. Do you have anything to say right now? No, I do not. It did not appear to me that he was trying to hide anything or choosing his words in response to my question. His reply was simply that. An answer. Nothing more. Yes. A prepared answer. A prepared answer written down in a list of responses. That's what it felt like to me, as though this particular answer had always been the only one he had available for situations like this. Clearly, prodding him for answers wasn't going to get me anywhere, so... What occurred? Sure, if you say so. I turned away from him and took off to join the other sinners. As I did so, a few words lingered at the tip of my proverbial tongue, asking to be let out. So I did. Would have been nice to know what you were looking at. Of that. He spoke. I cannot form a judgment. What? That is because the precise definition and nature of the subject of my gaze are just as unknown to me as to you. Should you point to an object or an enemy, I can provide a verbal explanation based on my current knowledge. If you require such information, please rephrase your question accordingly. But I asked him again then. Hello, Zekor. Yep, I'm still doing the intervallo. And I am deeply scared for what we're going to learn about Marcel. I tried to get to the bottom of that line of questioning. Could I have found myself the smallest peek into Marcel's psyche, which had remained entirely shrouded in mystery even after an entire year of traveling together? I suppose that's not up for me to judge as well. Manager. Yeah? Another battle is imminent. As you have previously instructed, I have informed you of an imminent battle. Yo, boss clock! Are you gonna sit there all day while we do the fighting? They're pouring out of the building over there. So they must have been on their way to that building. Our path ahead seems clear. Executive Manager, let us neutralize those foes and head up there. Gotcha, be right there. The brief lull of battle came to a close, and battling enemies who arrived precisely at the time Marcel had predicted, we made our way into the building. Bloody hell! The blokes he fought downstairs must have been the weaker ones of the bunch. How does N-Corp have so many guys on their payroll? There's no end to them! It is a wing, after all. Are these the taboo violators? I thought the culprit worked alone. No, I'm quite certain they're ones from the subsequent reports. The N-Corp fixers appeared just as confused as we were. It was clear to me that they were expecting to find a taboo violator here, not a big group of a dozen or so people. What were they thinking? Sending fodder like us to deal with an organized taboo violation? They should have sent taboo hunters here instead. Why do you think they told us to consume canned experience containing mass melee combat? They must have thought our current manpower would suffice to deal with this. I don't know about that. Wait, wasn't there an extra report? That one of them's a... All of a sudden... With a click, one of them's a what? The room began to buzz with the metallic whir of some kind of machinery. And immediately, I could tell what it was. Distortion. Standing in the middle of the shabby room was a device I wasn't sure if I had seen before. Its exterior is plastered with strange shapes that look similar to what we saw on the Chunokun's faces in our earlier battles, making it difficult to grasp its full shape. The round object affixed to it began to rotate slowly, with a dull, worn-out groan of a thing past its prime. Men! Shield your eyes! The moment it began to emit a faint ray of light, Otis thundered in a commanding voice. Ah! I quickly turned away as well, making sure not to catch even a glimpse of it. The device could be playing a recorded video, Executive Manager. Even a brief look at it could constitute a taboo violation. Shit! I saw that. I'm so finished! Just as panic began creeping into the voices of several unlucky individuals. Oh man, folks, this is starting to get a little embarrassing. Sleepy voice breaks through the darkness past my, metaphorically speaking, shut eyes. Mentor? Eyes opening, dude. What's wrong with everyone? Got dust in your eyes? The hell's wrong with you? Don't you know that anyone who watches even a split second of a recorded video in NCORP gets... Well, of course I know, but I watched it anyway. But in your eyes, esteemed fellows, this motion picture isn't recorded. Hang on, he's right. That video is not a recording. Possibly emboldened by Kim's comment, or perhaps believing that seeing the video could be excused as incidental exposure incurred while subduing violators, the NCORP employees also opened their eyes and began to mutter amongst themselves. Is that thing... talking to us? I finally allowed myself a good look at the machine, which was firing a conical beam of light against the side of the wall. And this was its message, delivered via white words on a black background. So you tracked me down this far. After what I went through to take refuge in here, they still ended up finding this place. All of you blindly consuming fake experience after fake experience, without even a care about the real thing. Case number TC3224. You are under suspicion of a Category 3 violation. Reveal yourself now and forfeit your illegal recording. Should you comply, we will... What is foolery but witless buffoonery in the absence of fools? The hollowed vessel, bereft of all but lingering delusions, grants not even a rule of echo to dodge excoriation of tools. What's this fellow on about? If you mean to obstruct all official duties, then won't hesitate to use force. Without even so much as turning around, bamboo-hatted Kim raised the sword and parried away the NCORP employee's nail-shaped weapon. I'm only speaking as my whim guides me, my dear fellows. No need to get so huffy. I only aim to say that this abomination has no consciousness. After what I went through to take refuge in here, they still ended up finding this place. All of you blindly consuming fake experience after fake experience, not even a care about the real thing. Repeating the same sentences over and over. Now that does make me wonder. Was I just as far gone when I distorted, past all words and reason? I mean, if anyone has an answer to that question, it'd be you folks, right? Kim said nothing more. He turned a piercing look on us, all the while effortlessly swatting away the NCORP employees' attacks, as though he was goading us into telling him the truth. Well, don't suppose there's any point in asking. I'm no different from this abomination. Just as it wields that contraption, I must have wielded the only thing I have really known, the blade, transforming into a mindless fiend consumed by a mere tool, cleaving through both friend and foe, unrestrained. Hey, Junior, are you still on about that? I tried to avert my eyes, I truly did, but such disregard is easier said than done. How can I, when a distorted being has no qualms showing me the... Doesn't he know how rude the unsoliciting reflecting of the fathoms of one's heart is? It's got to be illegal or something. Illegal, I say! Turning a customer into a thug on a protection racket run. A mere ant before a car in motion into a swerving driver. Conjuring dead followers before the eyes of the mental. Simply unconscionable. Rude as hell, some might say. My poor heart almost burst out of my chest, courtesy of you. All of you blindly consuming the fake experience after fake experience. Don't even care about the real thing. That split second, I think I saw Mersault's eyebrows twitch. The battle is imminent, manager. Just a natural response to sensing an imminent battle, perhaps. A blinding flash, followed by an explosive bang. My vision immediately went white and decided to take its damn time coming back. It did. The first thing that came into view was a particularly unsettling landscape of Escorp, followed by bamboo-headed Kim, surrounded by a small army of Chunokun. Mentor! Keep that up, and you'll shout me death, Engdu! Isn't it about time we both grew accustomed to such sights? Mentor, still do I wake from these dreams drenched in cold sweat, and I might bind and drag you away. This isn't so bad, is it? These kinds of folks so far, unlike earlier when... Another flash. What? What was that? Everything went dark. I don't understand what's happening, but first things first, we have to neutralize everyone here and get our mission back on track. Adjusting projection. I've been straying far and wandering all day for this exact reason, and... So that was its mechanism. Bounced? The words began to shift. Hi, Kara. Ishmael and Ishmael 2. Unfortunately, I don't have Ishmael 2. Well, the Ishmael that's Ishmael 2. The words began to shift rapidly before I had the chance to ask Faust what she had meant. To the one who finds comfort settling in lies, I give you what most deserved your gaze. Bollocks, I'll be blind before today is over at this rate. It changed. It did? Unlike the earlier instance, one of the distortions is different from the others. As Marcel identified, there was something different about the group of Chunokun this time. They were accompanied by someone else. A warrior in impressive armor, wielding a sword that was just as tall. That armor had a great Huando of the Sal Circle. To be reunited in such a manner. The warrior drew a bow that hung from the waistguard and knocked an arrow. I suppose this is how it would have gone down, had you been the one to grab me. Military Commissioner Im Gyeonyo. How do you fare, friend? At the signal, arrows loosing. Seize the accursed, accused. The warrior loosened the knocked arrow, which soared into the sky with a piercing missile. With an air-splitting sound as they cued, the Chunokun began to swarm us. Oh god. 3,000 shield? Not again. Memory transition. Deal with the current battle form of the homeland. Gain or lose. Swiftly the homeland's hostile. Retreat at turn and transition to a different location. It's gonna be... Mountains says coast to 19 are home to all manner of beasts. Amongst them, the bear in particular, boasts strength and force against the boulders falling off from the cliff in the landslide. Giving ground to the creature's challenge is ill-advised. One was saying to hew it down with the first slash of the blade. Pattern made of single coin scales. Yikes. Eastern forge-side armors are not so much equipped as they are piloted. This corp's Dujong Brigandine is one example of such armor. Much like Arcos' power armor suit and full plate armor used by the Knights of the West, the Dujong Brigandine greatly augments the user's offensive and defensive combat capabilities. And these advantages do not mean the armor's potency are readily supplied for combat personnel. Each unit has its own unique controls and comes with a limitation requiring separate fuels. What remains certain, however, is that with all the aforementioned armors, once the rider has familiarized himself with Dujong Brigandine's extended reach and heightened power output, he becomes a machine of war that strides across battlefields with promise of slaughter. Is that abnormality from Lobotomy Corporation an S-Corp as reference? When stuck in the homeland, S-Corp's traditionals are swordsmanship is also divided into 3 branches, Sal, Pi, and Pyo. Within their teachings exist techniques to hew and cleave through creatures of colossal stature, such as Sangans. To perform them in full, a swordsman must wield a great Kwando, capable of bearing a string of techniques. There are those who persevere in training for lack of talent, and there are those blessed with talent only to let it rust. All men say that the title of Apex Blade can be seized only by the gifting. Matters not, until day comes when this blade of mine should rise high enough to meet the clouds as you persevere in holding my claws. Flash loose in one head-splitting imagery. Nice. Shinokun incapacitates. To cover the eyes is not to be born. These fabrics created using Q-Corp Singularity are fashioned into many forms such as blindfolds and headbands, and are commonly used throughout the East. It is not unusual to see fixers and employees of corporate entities in the East covering their heads and faces with these products. Fabrics serve the same function as sunglasses, visors, and combat prosthetics found elsewhere in the city. Scan a target's information in real time, augment the wearer's vision, and provide tactical analysis. At times, it can also serve as a means of communication with distant allies. Getting lore for Roland's mask. No, wait, someone's crashing there.
랜던 4월에
네 상대는 나야. 나부터 상대해야 할걸? 기어들의 전투는 늘 남부를 불러오지.
Not enough?
어디 기록 좀 볼까?
즐겁겠군.
Bye, fish. Just started this battle. Nice.
잠깐.
Good to know.
당신들
모두 진정하십시오. 저들은 모종의 방법으로
So how was Regalia's stream? Because I kind of stopped watching to play game.
죄를 새겨주겠어.
Joy-Cons died. Started on hung memes. Damn. Watching memes. Okay. I most likely would. Unfortunately, yeah, did say I was going to stream. He sent me one of them.
아름다운 것.
Sent me one of the main theme penis ones.
그래, 그게 좀
It was all main theme penis? Damn.
숨을 거두리라.
Penis, 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 penis,
반듯한
penis, penis,
얘기해줬어.
penis, penis,
실로
penis,
판가도
penis,
됐고.
penis, penis. Okay.
아, 귀하들이 살떨리는 전투를 좋아하는 건
Ooh,
알겠는데.
ooh. You're cool.
그래도
Flash phenomenon.
살릴 수 있는 돌은 살리는 게 낫지 않나
Project
싶어.
there. Conditions unmet. Oh, okay, I need to divert you.
물러서지 않겠습니다.
Awesome.
저들의 목숨이 다하였어. 숨 돌릴 틈은 바라는다.
That's what I want to see.
다수가 버틸 판은 아니었지. 이제 좀 고수들만 남았으려나?
Primary to record. The battlefield has returned from escort to Incorp. Its turn. Heal 15 SP for all sinners. Location to distortion. Photo lab. This unit cannot be killed and does not take any damage from sources other than skill damage from skills attacking this unit as the main target. This unit's speed is fixed at 1. Turn start after encountering encounter through memory transition. Or this unit chooses 1. Activate the following. Remove self and Incorp. Turn to Gyeonyop to the encounter. Turn Im Gyeonyop to the encounter. Move the battle to a different location. No, at least remove the Encore ones. Sad it doesn't get damage because it's not being main attacked.
달빛이 발사할 때 문까지 발진난을
모두께서도 저런 위험을 보이시면 되어야 할 것을 뵐 때가 있었지요.
Ah, it's taking bleed.
과거일 뿐이지. 본국 제일검도 아니었던 내게 자랑할 만한 위용이 뭐 있다고. 생각이 많아지니 저런 실수도 나오는구나.
망설임이 없도록.
Oh no.
아름다운 것, 그렇지 않은 것.
Get him, Ezra.
비아들의 전투는 늘 낭부를 불러오지. 기대하겠네.
어디 비록 좀 볼까?
If he acts, he dies. I need more envy and gloom. Who fucking died? Don Quixote? No, wait. I can ensure he doesn't die and in fact heals. There we go.
망설임이 없도록.
Yep, Ezra's in this intervallo. And also, the bamboo-headed bum. The bamboo-headed bum. Peak character.
달빛이
Oh, what? It was unbreakable. His coin turned to unbreakable.
동주 상구 같은 데를 탔으니
R will not get to experience the bamboo-headed bum for the next week.
모두도 도우셔합니다. 모지스 씨가 눈 감아준다고 자꾸 그렇게 눈덩이를
No, wait, I
부리시면
can make... but I can't make envy.
다른 두 분께 이 사실을 실감할 수가.
I can make envy. Okay, lost the era effect. How much bleed? 6 turns to bleed. That's manageable. Watching the picture people play. I don't think I remember that episode. The other people. Oh. Yeah, probably. The entire time I've played this Intervallo, it's just been fear and dismay. Like, every time Mersault speaks, fear overcomes me. Every time Kim speaks, despair. We love the suffering, but I'm forced to think. Oh, it brings more Incorp staff. How funny.
모두도 도우셔야 합니다. 모지사
Me
씨가 눈 감아준다고
hopeless
자꾸
against
그렇게 농땡이를
one.
부리시면 저는 눈물을 머금고 다른 두 분께 이 사실을 실토할 수밖에.
깨지기 전에 되게 되자. 달빛이 밝다. 그 문까지 갈진 너를
오호라. 나가 시원시원한데 보는 재미가 탁월하구나.
오도 그 주정부리는 어디서
내 안에
가져오신
충분합니다.
이거 말이냐?
여기 있는
Like, I just have to deal with the fact that not only am I trying to figure out what is Mersault's deal, I also have to deal with the fact that Bamboo-Headed Kim is a bum. He aura farms so hard and he's a bum. Yeah, no, I don't think that's how it...
망설임이 없도록
Oh, what? Didn't kill?
저들의 목숨을 다하였어. 숨돌릴 틈을 바랍니다.
아수가 버틸 판은 아니었지.
Okay, almost done with its shield. Develop memories. Isang, throw rocks at him.
복을 구하고 싶다면 정성을 들여 빌어보시오.
귀하들이 살펴지는 전투를 좋아하는 건 알겠는데
Shield's almost broken.
그래도 살릴 수 있는 돌은 살리는 게 낫지 않나 싶군.
망설임이 없도록.
Okay. I shall set my form alright. Just a little more, and I think we might be able to smash that dang thing to smithereens, but... Yeah, but it's really hard to focus on one thing with a huge warrior zapping in and out of reality as soon as we make ourselves an opening. I think our lives a whole lot easier if we could get rid of just one of them. That'll seem to be taking a toll on the sinners, more so than usual. Wasn't that we were up against an insurmountable foe, not even close, not to mention how Ezra and Engdu were here to help us out. But... shite. Haven't they had enough? About time they gave up, ain't it? Oi, don't you go legging it again. Big sword-carrying fella sure is kicking our butts, but I don't know if they're the key to solving this distortion. We ain't exactly flush with options, are we? Exits block and it ain't like we can stop mid-fight to strategize. The battlefield constantly shifting and flashing between N-Corp and S-Corp, we simply did not have the breathing room to focus on either of the projector or Im Gyung-on, who was swinging that great blade of frightening force. Besides... Engdu, go cover his back too. It shall be done. N-Corp was sending far too many people against us. There weren't that many at first, but it seemed that the sudden spike in employee casualties in an area so close to the nest had alerted N-Corp to our location. How do we get out of this? Faust, Otis, help me out here. So I just stopped racking my brain trying to navigate a situation I know so little about, and instead rely on the sinners with possibly more experience in the field. First, I need to know if there's any way we can deal with the endless reinforcements N-Corp is sending after us. And second, will defeating Im Gyung or destroying that projector bring an end to this distortion phenomenon? If I may speak freely, Executive Manager, it is unlikely that our present force will be sufficient to overcome the current rate of enemy's reinforcements. Not only is this battlefield situated in close proximity to the enemy's stronghold, but there is an unpredictable variable in that strange machine that makes neutralizing even a single wave of enemies difficult. I regret to be the bearer of bad news, but we are trapped in a battlefield with but a single exit, which the enemies have already blocked. Without reinforcements of our own, there is little hope of prevailing through this current predicament. Yeah, seems that way to me too. But maybe if we can neutralize the distortion phenomenon at the very least. Faust recommends entering the Dungeon at the Fathoms as our exit. Dungeon at the Fathoms? How can I enter it if we can't even talk to the wait. Maybe. During the LCB regular checkup back at the LCE, says that all you have to do is read what's on the note in front of his distortion. Apparently it's some kind of a code. Right! Keywords! This one seems to be a location type distortion, which means that regardless of where the bright flashes take us, N-Corp or the twisted caricature of S-Corp, we're still within its range. In other words, as long as I have the right keywords, I can summon an entrance to its Dungeon of the Fathoms from anywhere within it. Okay, so what are the keywords for this distortion then? Oppenheimer provided us the necessary keywords for his distortion back then, but this time we had to figure it out on our own. Things first, one of them has to be photographed. It's obviously been present throughout the entire phenomenon. If I may, perhaps experience may be one of them. Yusang put his 2 cents in, having briefly retreated from battle to the backlines. There's an undercurrent of obsession with experiences staining his every trail. It must have aught in relation to what has caused his distortion. Experience. Concept alone lacks substance. It must be something more grounded. Something that is at once synonymous with experience, while maintaining a through line to NCorp's technology that was the core of its obsession. Canned experience? Most likely, thinks Faust. Alright then. Photograph, canned experience. Naught seems to transpire as of yet. Didn't, but I could feel it. Are these the kind of photographs they used to make canned experience? So that's what that strange sensation was. Mentioning that word shook the distortion and caused that rippling effect. But it was clearly not enough to force open a Dungeon of the Fathoms. How many other keywords could there be? Scraps. Sorry? Oh, I thought we were all taking turns sharing what might have caused them to distort. And going by the way you folks were saying your piece one after another, I thought this has to be some sort of a Zen riddle. Not a Zen riddle, no, but where scraps come from. See, when enjoying the benefits of slacking off at work, all kinds of mundanities come to possess far more interesting qualities, sometimes even revealing secrets invisible to the eyes focused elsewhere. See, he's a bum! Take a person of interest, to wit. He has been poking around this area of town with an eye-watering expensive camera in tow. So conspicuously that every store owner I'd likely prodded for information that tales to tell about him. Each tale added another facet to the long saga of a once-driven man. He looks cool. He is also a bum. He reminds me of... I forgot his name from Bleach. The guy who also happens to have a bamboo hat and a robe. Who lazes about. A man with a can-do attitude, an uncanny ability to pull himself up by his own bootstraps, a clear path toward Nest residence, who became so bewitched by photography that he eventually squandered his fortune on what was, in the end, nothing more than a pastime. Oh, like a hobo, a very lazy person. Person who would rather sleep and indulge in mundanities. I just don't know the word in Spanish to properly explain it. Un vago. It's un vago. And that went on until he found himself reduced to a pauper, barely making rent on a scrap heap of an apartment. In pursuit of his ideality. Ideal! The man has lost grip of fortune and reality. I sought out his apartment and found a few scraps of his writing. When cold rain drips through the roof, when mold and tepid humidity together encroach from the earth, the mind begins to wander, lost. Eventually, madness is evoked in a form indistinguishable from drunkenness. The pauper loses himself. A shadow darker than I had seen on Kim's face crept beneath the shade of his eyes. No, I had seen that look once in the past. It would be more accurate to say that I had heard it in his voice, that echoed in his fathoms, distorted by guilt and regret. Perhaps I shouldn't be surprised by the fact that this distortion has, among the countless people here, taken a particular interest in bamboo-headed Kim. Photograph, canned experience, and scraps. Like inserting a final piece of the puzzle, the space before us momentarily warped and flashed, opening a pathway to the distortion's fathoms. Well then, you have too many wives. We will be right behind you, Executive Manager. Miss Ezra, is this what I had seen then? The gateway to one's fathoms. Yeah. This is it, huh? Neat stuff. But, before she could finish, Ezra had to redirect her focus from our discussion back to the battle. Most of the sinners were caught in the same predicament. Some managed to disengage from the battle and prepare to enter the Dungeon of the Fathoms, but Honglu, Gregor, and several others were still busy holding off the N-Corp employees. Gotta follow us right in there if we run now, right? Probably. Even those who aren't chained to Dante like we are can travel through the pathway once it's open, so... Yeah, let's not drive ourselves into an even narrower corner. I'll keep them at bay. Hearing that, Andrew-headed Kin stepped up. My sword arm's not what it once was, but it should be enough for this. Besides, I have little wish to set foot in some ill-omened place and be tangled in such a bizarre mess. Is that really what he thinks? There's something in his eyes that led me to believe that this was about more than just staying behind to protect our rear. He was... WTF. Huh? What a terrible front. Please try to pretend to be sincere and make it easy for us to believe you. Do you think that terrible excuse was going to fly? What are you trying to avoid, Sword Swinger? You're not some kid trying to get out of doing his homework. I remember hearing that entering a Dungeon of the Fathoms will bring one to the spiritual fathoms that distortion is gazing into. Then what lies within must be my very own. For that is what the abomination is gazing into. It's decided then, you're coming with us. You ain't about to walk in blind to a place we know shite about, mate. Get us in there, yeah? Oh, that's... He keeps it simple. You try that too. Learn the hard way that homework, like summer reading, doesn't go away just because you don't look at it. It's still there, even as the summer breaks come to an end. Even as the summer break comes to an end. Ruining the last day of your vacation into an all-nighter. Ariashki Scabbard vibrated cheerfully in agreement. Stop procrastinating. Go do your summer reading. What was it you said? Face the homework, save the GPA. Face the sin, save the ego. It is, after all, the attitude that the company expects of its employees. Go, Junior. You guys too, LCB. I can handle them all on my own. You'll make a lone stand. Hey, who do you think I am? I'll show you why Team Leader Moses felt safe sending me out alone with you guys. This was basically a Monster of the Week situation for Team Leader and me back in our duo days. I can handle them on my own, no problemo. I wanted to see how you guys handle the inflection point, but I guess you can never really have it all. Well, guess I'll just have to trust our two Oster Team newbies to handle that. Now that I think about it, I'm setting a pretty solid example as your team senior, aren't I? I don't like this, but it seems that I have no choice in the matter as long as this employee card hangs from my chest. With a sigh, Kim shook his head and joined us, dragging his feet all the while. I shall take the vanguard. Minta, be warned that the entrance is floating. Take a tall step over, or you may trip. I can clearly see that, Ingdu. Bring me a ladder if you're really that worried, why don't you? Have you need for one? A mere jest. You needn't worry.
귀하들이라면 능히 이길 것이라 우두? 벌써 어딜 가십니까?
개가 할 필요도 없어 보이니 방에 가서 세상 돌아가는 모습이나 보려 한다.
승부수가 먹혀들었고
Come here, immediately part ways with Ezra.
한스는 완벽히 우리에게
Sad.
정착지를 찾을 때까지 이 기세를 잃지 않기를.
So, fathoms. I wish I had the lunacy. I wish I had the lunacy to get the Ishmael. And I don't want to throw away the 000 assured extraction. it's just the odds are so low. The streamer luck went against me actually, because I somehow pulled the Mersault Ego, which I really wanted, and the announcer twice. All of them have the same probability of around 2%. Oh, never mind. The rate is 1.3 for you? Huh. I guess the announcer rate is just higher. Oh, you get thread. You get a box. You get a box with 50 1 in 3 thread. So, a range of 50 to 150, 50 to 150 thread. I could have got another. No. This guys are the only ones in the banner. These guys I have to pity for. They can do an answer. I wish I had the Ishmael. Just so I can complete the Blade Lineage set. But this is good enough. Actually, I could. Where's it? Just have the backup Kurokumo. And I can claim this Rodion right now.
배로 왔어. 사람이든 흐르는 물이든 떠다니는 구름이든 누군가의 마음이든.
But I absolutely do not have enough to raise them. Oh, what? I don't have... Damn. Ah, fuck it, I guess. To me, my Heisho. Or... No, wait, you're poised. I think you were poised too? Yeah. You're also poised. Sea Branch is poised. Okay. Could bring Penis Cliff. Let's see, are you poised? No, you just burn. Alright. Yep, penis.
착수.
If that's how everyone's been living, then my life. My photographs too. So this is Escort 2, right? It is reminiscent of my homeland. The sights are much too hideous compared to what rests in my memories. Hideous was apt. When we emerged from the entrance of the dungeon into Escorp streets, what greeted us was a distorted and eerie scenery. I wouldn't be surprised to find an Escorp-themed haunted mansion. It is hardly a place to fit for human habitation. Far more dilapidated than once expected. Thou sayest that people inhabit these lands for truth. Really? I think it has a cool vibe. Vibe's my foot! I don't think I'll be able to get a wink of sleep in here. The lives of the downtrodden were beset by 1,000 woes and tenfold more struggles, and the streets they inhabit reflect that reality. Many times have I contemplated in consternation how the folk here had even the will to live on. The shadow that had begun to haunt Kim's face still lingered there as he looked around. If the distortion reveals the phantoms of those it gazes into, as Kim had said, perhaps this is how S-Corp is reflected in Kim's eyes. On the days when the skies were spotless blue, and without orders from the counselor, I would scale to the roof of that choga and feel it rustle beneath my back as I lay upon it. I thought it to be a respite solely mine, yet in this mirrored world, another has walked here before my arrival. I join him in looking up at the thatched roof of the choga. Beneath it, a wicked tunnel have I passed, and now I witness myself before the one who shall strike the head from my torso. There was a figure standing tall next to the building, staring defiantly up toward the man on the straw roof. Im Gyeong-il. Are you home? Escort bodyguard, P. Are you home? I asked. What a strange visitor I have. Why not call at the front gate if you've come seeking the master of the house? Be not like a dog barking up the wrong tree. It's unbecoming. A dog? Really now? I can see you up there, lounging on the roof. I'm not going to speak to the door like I'm blind. Has a spell of some sort befallen the day? To have such an odd occurrence transpire twice successive. The work of a bewitching spirit, I say. What's so bewitching about checking in? And now I can start recording again as well. Insert window capture. Where is it? Here it is. I don't think it's... I don't think it's playing on your end. Well, did it capture a screenshot, or is it because it's in full screen? Hold on. That's the folder. That's this. It's not played. Remove. Yes. Add. No, fuck it. We're going on main full screen for this one. Where was it? This one. For the source, we got a display capture. Yeah, there we go. Oh, right. I don't have it capturing the audio. Show me inactive sources. That's not it. Show me hidden. Add source, application audio capture. This. Let's see, this should work. You are not hearing the audio. What did I do to get rid of my desktop audio? No worries, no, I derailed this because I really wanted to show this. Damn. Damn, anyway. Isn't it odd that a high and noble military commissioner of our esteemed corporation would come in person to simply check in on how a lowly mercenary fares? You know me. She certainly knows her jests. She marches forth, vested in war strider armor, yet expects no violence. She wields a two-hand... Oh, she's a woman. She wields a two-handed great blade like a demonic yaksha, yet harbors no hostile intent. Why, who else might she be but Military Commissioner Gyung-ya, the principal of the famed Im family? You are certainly in the habit of speaking in hyperbole. I am not so noble that I deserve to be complimented with an epithet so grand as the principal. Not a compliment, you see, Commissioner? This is a rhetorical technique known as a backhanded compliment, in which I damn you with praise, for you are so bound by your precious principles that you would rather be unreasonable than betray them. Does an officer ranked second ordinate have no wit to engage in such banter? Oops. Why, am I out of line, as they say? You two are friends, right? This was our first meeting, so no, not at that precise moment. I know, I'm just saying that if I were her, I wouldn't let myself become friends with you after such a bad first impression. Can't imagine becoming friends with someone who keeps pushing my buttons. Maybe, but people do find friendship in such personalities if they have a taste for prickliness. You've got a friend in us, don't you? Fine, you have a point. I guess I do have a habit of pushing people's buttons too. But still, I hope you're not seriously comparing the way I talk to his sassy, gotcha-thinking, pun-riddled. Well, the world we live in is a vast and diverse one. Consider yourself lucky that you're surrounded by so many quirky characters. It's because of that same luck that she took the joke well, rather than respond by trying to cut off my head. You are out of line, yes, but I knew you would be, so I won't take issue with it. Though I must admit, the rumors of your sharp tongue do you no justice. The streets speak of a man they call Kim Lib. Kim Lib, Kim Liberal, Kim Bamboo Raid Hat. His name is just straight up Bamboo Hatted Kim. That's his like actual full legal name. Kim Liberal. A man who once had intended to pursue the path of the brush, only to realize the sins of his forefathers and exiled himself to the back streets. Yet, with the sheer power of will, gritted teeth, and scarred heart, you'd find the path of sword another way into the nest. As the right state councilor's sworn guard at that. That's you, isn't it? Kim Lim, who was too woke, therefore he was vanished. All those superlatives, yet the reality is that I've merely found the path of man-butchery as a viable way of life. Direct any compliments you have toward the right state councilor, if you will. I am but a butchering blade that happened to fall into the right hands. Not a compliment. Just a word on the street. Ha! You're a quick learner. And spare me the fancy reading of my name. Watching you pretend that pompous posturing comes naturally is painful enough already. Keep it simple and spell it out as Bamboo-Hatted Kim. Thank you. And does he continue to veer away from the line? I'd rather be a corpse cold and dead than stay in line. Have a shred of mercy on me, oh mighty one. I'd come all the way here just to punish you for your every little misdeed and ill manners. I would have laid you out and split you into 3 ways before this riveting dialogue brought us this far. So, feel safe to continue traipsing outside the line, but in return, would you answer a few of my questions? I've been watching you from a distance for a while now, and I think you're a bum. Really? Stalking someone's not very principled of you. You sure she didn't give you a good wallop after that? No, truly a mystery, isn't it? Besides, she did give me free rein to continue traipsing outside the line. I couldn't in good conscience turn down such office of kindness, not that I ever do. You sure have a way with words. If finding your way under the listener's skin, huh? Perhaps, yet such japes are such japes not expected among fellowships of close mutual bond? They don't look like friends yet, though. So, care to tell us why she's been watching you? I was engaged in the age-old pastime of throwing rocks. Oh, you speak of the game of Sokjo. Save them for the festivities of the day now. I was throwing rocks at the passers-by. This is my goat. This is my bomb. VOD! That is a wrong deed, good sir. I suppose it is. The people of Pure, and Sal in particular, found it to be distasteful. And they did not let their discontent be hidden. But the P and the downtrodden cheered me on, to a degree. They found it cathartic. Huh. Curious. Then is it a right deed or a deed not right? Pure? Sal? Whatever is it that thou'rt describing? It is a well-known truth that that Escorp is also known by its other name, Salpipio Agro-Industries. A wing specializing in the general agriculture and livestock industry of the city. The vastness and the depth of its responsibilities have necessitated such divisions of labor. Thus, District 19 is split into 3 court circles responsible for different aspects of the industry. Sal, Pi, and Pio, each meaning flesh, blood, and bone, respectively. Sal, responsible for the cultivation of rice and other grains. Pio, responsible for the meats and livestock. And P, in charge of the technological aspects of both. As a scientist and researcher who once toiled at Escort, you must have felt the persecution the P faced firsthand. It is believed that the Trinity was designed for balance, that they would provide assistance when requested and keep one another in check when needed. It was once a promise of cultivating a fair and sustainable Escort. Alas, the noble intentions of yesteryear now lie sullied. The Trinity now degraded to 3 quarreling bands of profiteers blinded by avarice. relying not on honor but betrayal and perfidy to claim the top of the triangle. An adherent of the flesh claims the position of the chief state councillor and monopolizes rights as the common folk star. An adherent of the bone wants a right state councillor, dotes to Sal and rises to the seat of the left state councillor. When such shameless conspiracy permits not the common folk to even till the land as they please, anguished cries of suffering flood the streets. Thus, the common folk are reduced to livestock living out, hanging from a hook while bone and flesh collude like that of the emaciated dead. Hold on. So, common folk seizes chief state councillor, and a right state councillor chooses left state. Who shall claim the severance of flesh and bone and force them both to yield? An oft-heard poem when walking the streets of Esco. Oh. Then the people whom thou hast targeted with thy rocks were... They weren't people. Rats. Rats? Oh yes. The councillor finds rats detestable. Much better to stop them from a distance if you want to crush them. By any chance, do these rats have a habit of sneaking into the royal court to better pilfer what the common folk rightfully deserve? They certainly suffer from a severe case of kleptomania. So you purposefully threw a rock at his feet to trip him to the ground, knowing that he was a kleptocrat. Kleptocrat? Well, I simply could not help but react as such in the presence of scurrying rats. Is there aught you find funny? Speak if you do, I could use a good laugh right about now. Just heartily expressing my gratitude, that is all. Those whose corruption is revealed ought to readily receive their scarlet aura bonds. The gall to scamper away with their expensive prosthetics. My men were having such trouble apprehending them, until now. Well, if that is your intent, you are invited to leave a token of gratitude somewhere in the vicinity. Perhaps I'll happen to pick it up. Wouldn't want to get thrown in dungeons for teaming with real vermin. Oh, I was going to do just that. So, when else do you stop being a sword and be human again? What? When do you clock out? The way I see it, you're not the kind of person who'll ever let a drop of liquor get to his tongue while on duty for the right state councillor. Damn! Already moving to flirting! Return to this choga when you're human again. I'll buy you a drink as thanks. She's a funny one. Mentor, when this fellow you had often mentioned fondly was... Correct. Haven't I mentioned her a few times when this drinking fellow I had left behind in Esco? I must say, I myself found that relationship most intriguing. That a military commissioner of the Sal faction would fraternize with a bodyguard, the right state councillor, who was of the P faction. Still, I knew not that the fellow was none other than the military commissioner of Esco. Indu's eyes had gone wide in shock, her voice rising unconsciously. It is news to me that you have had ties to a second ordinance official, a military officer with command over high-ranking employees of the wing at that. Well, I was in service of the right state councillor, who's a first ordinance, you know? She is cute. She's very cute. Well, that might be true, yet you would like to know why I, with such a powerful friend by my side, have ended up in exile from Esco. Yes, your silence over matters of such great import is why I have come to introduce you to others as the reticent one, Mentor. We had made the Blade lineage a home for Esco, availed no home to us but the lineage. But you, Mentor, I would rather show than tell. Let us proceed, shall we? Just stop your dog from air launching for... Nice. Good. The dog yearns for the forbidden tree. This enchanted place seems intent on unearthing all of my past, both savory and unsavory. All shall be revealed in due time. Kim looked around, a twinge of loneliness in his eyes, before moving on. We followed without a word. Well then. Oh, this is a classic one. This is a classic mirror dungeon. No shop at the end either. We emerged into a dark and muggy cavern. We're filled with air so stale it almost felt stifling. Oh shoot, up ahead, something. Powerful gust howled through one of the paths. Another was filled with a metallic tang, the smell of blood. Then, there was a path that was entirely silent. And the last one echoed with the harsh noise of sword striking against sword. Which path should we choose? Ahead, thin ray of light shone through the darkness, seemingly guiding a path. Like wind howling for poise. Wow, the wind's pretty strong in here. There's a puppy. You actually found like a whole jar. Yikes. Straight yikes. The wind only got more turbulent the deeper we progressed. By the time we were nearing the end of the passage, the sinners could barely keep their eyes open and had to cover them with their arms. Then, all of a sudden, tranquility arrived, the wind settling as though it hadn't been blasting us in the face just a moment ago. The dust the wind kicked up dissipated and revealed a scarlet robe haphazardly thrown atop a pedestal made of stacked stones. Aura Bond. On crate, inflict bind. 2 times. But against a skill, against an enemy that has bind, gain 1 poise. Turn start. All enemies that have bleed gain offense level down equal to bind on themselves. If all enemies for focus encounters, all parts, have bind, all allies gain 3 poise. Nice. It is 9, and I am hungry. I'm gonna go make myself a sandwich really quick. Think this full. Yeah, okay, it's... Yeah, I'm gonna go eat something. Just do that. Where's this locked? No, I should do dots. Reassures and yep. Sandwich hours. I made myself more grilled cheese. It has a lot more cheese, first of all. There's also a bit of this Frigo Italian sauce I bought from the America store we have here. As well as some bits of onion. Because why not? So I'm just gonna eat it while these guys fight. For number 7, I'm throwing you in there. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
내 명을 들은 시비수 결집이다.
They're also really wet because I put in too much cheese.
조심하는 것이 좋지
and
않겠니?
left it to melt.
모제스 아씨께서도 누누이 말했지. 갑작스레 달라진 행동에 주의하라고. 즐겁겠군!
Oh god, the cheese fused both sandwiches together.
모두께서도 저런 위험을 보이시면 배워야 할 것이 될 때가 있었지.
과거는 과거일 뿐이지. 건국 제일검조차 아니었던 내게 자랑할 만한 위험이
Holy shit,
무엇일까?
this rules.
사고될 시간이다. 잔무에
This is so fucking good.
그렇지 않아. 반듯한 일격이었어. 실로 군대가 됐고.
육청
그래, 그게 정신.
태어난 곳으로 돌아가라. 태어났어요.
저들의 목숨이 다하였어. 숨돌릴 틈을 걸어내봐.
Resentful blade lineage
아,
sounds
그거 버틸 판은 아니었지.
interesting.
이제 좀 고수들만 남았으려나?
It's just the blade lineage ID.
물러서지 않겠습니다.
확실하게 갈라지는 감각이었네.
칼을 베어
속삭.
아, 혹시 아냐? 나도 앵두 너처럼 새검 하나 생기면
필요하십니까? 그럼 사기로 하죠. 밥을 받고
벤더,
빚이라도 내서
사월을
보일수록
장으로
참
하나 장만해 드리면 됩니까?
앵두야, 아 네가 하면 노경이를 진단 같으니 내 부디 그러지 말았으면 좋겠고. 검은 지금 것으로 충분하다. 잠깐, 당신들
모두 진정하십시오. 저들은 모종의 방법으로 다시 회복할 수 있을 텐데.
살고자 하는 모든 것들과 함께 무덤으로 돌아가라.
확실하게 갈라지는
이래서
감각이었네.
내가 일하기 싫다는 거다. 위험한 일에 몸담은 이상 이런 일을
범이 무섭다고 귀하들이라면 능히 이길 것이라 우두? 벌써 어딜 가십니까?
걔가 할 필요도 없어 보이니 방에 가서 세상 돌아가는 모습이나 보려 한다.
테레비나 보시겠다는
Yeah.
말 아닙니까?
Okay. Let's see. Up. Excuse me. As we were slowly looking around the streets of Escorp, a youth, after fidgeting and hesitating for a moment, walked up to us and asked for help. The youth explained that, wishing to better his own status, he took the royal examination, akin to a public employment policy in Escorp, and was able to attain a high grade for himself. Oh shoot. And that was where his problems began. As far as he knew, people who passed the exam with flying colors, like himself, had their travel expenses paid for the homeward trip and were granted a guide. But there must have been a misunderstanding or something, because when he left the exam grounds, no one was there to escort him. Confused by the unexpected turn of events, he wandered away from the exam grounds in search of his escort, lost his bearings, and found himself in these alleys. He's asking if we could help him with directions. What should we do? Can we help? Yeah, this is very high. Blade lineage modifier +6. Okay. Mersault opened their mouth to begin, stopped, then turned around to where bamboo-headed Kim and Engdu were. I am not so well versed in the geography of this area. Perhaps Mentor would know better. Come on. Kim let out an audibly disconcerted sigh, then walked out to the youth to give him directions. And take off that royal celebratory flower crown. You don't want people to know you've passed the exam. But why would? It's for a good reason. Just do as I say, and you'll thank me one day. The youth stared back at him in puzzlement before seemingly decided that giving proper gratitude for Kim's assistance took precedence. He handed us what appeared to be a small ceramic vessel. This might be a water dropper for brush calligraphy. Now, might this be? Though you may have no practical need of this, for I see none of you are much acquainted with the art of grinding ink against inkstone. I impart this gift to you in hopes that this dropper may form a small flow in your river's ink drive. Though it would have made for a rather moving moment had it not been for the exaggerated scoff Kim gave. The youth hurried on its path without minding the sudden discourtesy. Engdu later asked him what had spurred his sudden outburst, but he did not give her a reply, instead choosing silence behind pursed lips.
미호스럽군.
He was to take the path of the brush and abandon it. An allied identity gains assist defense.
이 경로는 숨어들기 나쁘지 않군 거래.
조심하는 것이 좋지 않겠는가. 모제사 씨께서도 누누이 말했지. 갑작스레 떨어진 행동에 주의하고. 반듯한 일격이었어. 실로 군바닥이었군.
생각이 많아지니 저런 실수도 나오는구나.
This animation is so good.
참
부자께서도 저런 위험을 보이시며 배워야 할 짓을 볼 때가 있었지요.
과거는 과거일 뿐이지. 본국 제일금조차 아니었던. 그래, 그게 정석이지. 혹시 아니야? 나도 앵두 너처럼 세금 하나 생기면.
필요하십니까? 그럼 사드려야죠. 값을 받고 빚이라도 내서 제일 좋은 검으로 하나 장만해드리면 됩니까?
앵두야.
혈이
네가 하면 노면이라 진단 같으니. 부디 그러지 말았으면 좋겠구나. 검은 지금 것으로
참 침착한 결과. 살고자 하는 모든
This sandwich would
것들과
give me ego.
무덤으로 돌아가라.
확실하게 갈라지는 감각이었네.
In the presence of this sandwich, I would be physically unable to distort. It would give me ego.
혹시 아니야? 나도 앵두 너처럼 세금 하나 생기면.
필요하십니까? 그럼 사드려야죠. 값을 받고
It is
빚이라도
the
내서
opposite of a mono.
제일 좋은 검으로 하나
하고들
장만해드리면
시간이
됩니까?
잔후에
앵두야. 네가 하면 농연이라 진단 같으니. 부디 그러지 말았으면 좋겠구나. 검은 지금 것으로 충분하다. 오호라. 나가 시원시원한데. 보는 재미가 탁월하구나.
그래도 그 주전부리는 어디서 가져오신 겁니까?
It's that fucking good. A little sauce and some onions. And it's a damn good sandwich.
비껴 베어버렸군.
흉터의 결과야.
귀하들이라면 능히 이길
They are.
것이니
They're kind of chaotic too.
벌써 어딜 가십니까?
걔가 할 필요도 없어 보이니 방에 가서 세상 돌아가는 모습이나 보려 한다.
테레비나 보시겠다는
I
말
catch a glimpse of a
아닙니까?
figure staring off into the darkness of the unlit prison. Ember-headed Kim lets out a sigh but before he even fully exhales, who goes there? They got high clash power? I've been eating the sandwich. I haven't really checked their power. A sharp cry cuts through the stagnant air. Someone here must have noticed us. What should we do? Yeah, just start battle encounter? At least put a little effort into your lives, huh? Clearly pretending to be prison guards the way we are was a lie too easily disproven. We took to our heels as the woman, red with anger, came after us with her sword unsheathed. Oh, nothing happened. Awesome.
칼을 부딪힐 시간입니다.
No, it can't be. My life is. The experiences, the memories I have recorded are different. Alas. Kim came to a stop with a grim look on his face. Again, I am returned to this day. His voice had dropped to the same morose pitch we had heard before. Mental. I have been here before. You was using Chicken Heathcliff. It's either I want too many fights or he explodes for the boss, or let's see you failing that event. Oh. Have you? Had a peek into my memories when I had distorted, did you? I must say, it's a bit embarrassing to have my deepest and darkest secrets revealed like that. Kim grinned sheepishly, as though to clear the air, but it was becoming rather clear to me what he was doing. That his flippant demeanor and seemingly devil-may-care attitude were but a mask to hide the true darkness in his heart. Then this must be, indeed, the right state councilor's estate. Someone whom I had once protected, thought was worth protecting. Kim pushed open the main gates and made his way into the front yard. Watch out, Hengdu. Take a stall step over, or you might trip. Ugh. There were bodies splayed about the yard, and I couldn't dare start counting them. I felt faint watching the aftermath of the carnage. Some were decapitated, some had their torsos split diagonally, and some of them were so mangled that I could hardly even tell which parts belonged to who. Are they not retainers of the royal court? What were they doing at the councilor's? No. Were they killed by assassins? Assassins did infiltrate the estate, yes. You're looking at what remains of them. Though I had but a moment to glimpse it, I clearly remember what the escort logo I saw in Kim's Fathoms looked like. The hats these corpses are, or were wearing, are adorned with the same logo. So why is bamboo-hatted Kim calling them assassins? In this corrupt land, the right state councilor's life was always as precarious as a candlelight in a tempest. Such is the fate of all those who have the guts to speak the truth in this corp, where positions of influence are hoarded by corrupt sycophants whose chokehold on power is ironclad. The most prominent among them, the left state councilor, with a chief state councilor's blessing, sought to wield his own private army to silence forever the tongues of those who would advocate against the corrupt. Private army? But they are prohibited in our homeland. So they're kind of how the great houses of H-Corp each had their own armies. That is similar to what is happening, but not exactly. Hello, Cornelius. What do you mean? This is peak. If S-Corp's circumstances are to be explained in plainer terms, it would be akin to a situation in which a company whose employees outwardly appear to be all working for the same side. His aura's in a constant incinerator. I like him better this way, but still. It is in fact fractured within, with certain departments pledging allegiance to a different individual than the chief executive. Do welcome the N and S-Corp lore, though. Yeah, it's good lore. It is good lore. But also, I think Kim is enhanced by the fact his aura could just go to the shitter at any moment. I very much liked Kim that's not locked in. Can't wait a general's face reveal. Like, she is cute. She is cute, and it was a neat moment because they were flirting with each other. What assassins there had been in the past at least wore masks to hide their allegiance. I had thought this no different, though with assassins significantly less invested in maintaining their disguises. Not realizing that I had just placed my stone inside a tiger's maw. Looking around at the yard teeming with the assassins, I recall thinking it odd just how many of them they had sent. They look like this big menacing man, and then they said she. I was like, okay, nice. And they showed the baby face of the suit and the tie and the death armor. Like, the tensions were going down. The tensions were going down. We needed that face reveal because they were just straight up flirting. Though the left state councilor's power had grown to loom over that of the king, I should have realized how ridiculous such a brazen attempt on the life of one of the triumvirate councilors at the royal court would have been. Foolish. I can't. Failed you, councilor. There were simply too many of them, as they had decided that tonight was the night they would finally slay the councilor or die trying. I was soon overwhelmed, and some of them eventually managed to get around me and reach the councilor's bedchamber. The moment I heard them breach the door, all strength left me, and I fell to my knees. I, Kim Labor, have a poor excuse of a bodyguard, and I have failed you. And I knew who the author of the foul scheme was, the left state councilor. Let this be my final act of loyalty ere I depart this life. Though I am too meager of a person to carry on your will, councilor, what I can do is plant the seeds of terror in the hearts of the unjust, if only to shackle their blackest hearts from committing greater misdeeds. I shall go before the villain who contrived this betrayal, and see that the favors repaid with steel. Only by such vengeance shall the councilor at last close his eyes on his grave. Oh, so I had thought. What? Greetings, honed bodyguard of the right councilor. I see that you've been hard at work. You sick parasite. I ought to flay you alive and reveal the wretched soul underneath. Some gall you have to show your face here. Oh, here. You mean in the home of the Honorable Right State Councilor who toils day and night in service of the royal court? I know the assassins are sent by the left state councilor. Get out of my way. I shall collect your head once my task here is over. Alas, alas. This unsightly display of anger shames us all. Not all those who live by the sword as uncomfort you. The cruelty of your damning words is an impression upon decent men like myself. Let's see how long you can. Heed me, soldiers! Arrest this mad butcher! What? The accused shall heed his crimes. I mean, when Wu was seeing this costume, it's nice. 1 moon ago, an anonymous letter threatening to take the life of the revered Right State Councillor arrived at the royal court. This audacious, contumelious effrontery is an affront not only to the royal court, but to the heavens and men alike. The revered Left State Councillor, who has long been in disagreement with the Right State Councillor in matters of the state, found this offense to be so heinous that he has personally commanded his men to protect his political enemy on the day written on the letter. Huh? Yet, a tragedy has struck. All those lives sent to protect the noble councillor are slain. The bravery and justice of their honorable hearts trampled upon the ground by this villain. And now the villain promises death to yet another pillar of the royal court. Thus we are perforce to arrest the criminal and restore the rule of law. You spout senseless drivel. I saw your men make their way into the councillor's bedchamber with their blades drawn. The councillor? Might you be looking for the Right State Councillor here, alive and well? My lord? The vile wretch leaned down next to my ear and whispered, "Perhaps you should have known where not to stick your nose. Did you really think you could overcome the entire private army in the Left State Councillor's service? He sent so many of his men to their deaths, just to lure me into a trap? Why? Now, don't take this as a compliment, as you're not even the apex blade of the homeland, nor are you the Ungyon. But you have been a rather egregious obstacle to the execution of my plans. Couldn't get through the first thing in my plan with you constantly getting in my way. Let's keep you nicely locked up and out of trouble. This can't be. For what it's worth, young man, I am sorry. I've come to realize the error of my ways. The truth is, though Escorp is indeed a pond of turbid water. Thank you. It was such a good sandwich. It needed to be immortalized. I might make another. It was those like us who had stirred the dirt from its bed and turned it cloudy. Fearing the worst, we arrived to protect the revered Right State Councillor. 1,000 curses upon the villain! In his quest for the Right State Councillor's life, the butcherous man had already watered the ground with Escorp's laborers, the very lifeblood that runs in the veins of this most serene wing. And that charcoal-hearted villain is none other than the Councillor's sworn god, Kim Limb. Heed us, O villain, and obey, and let the aura bonds take you. You've fallen far, my friend. You who were once considered a candidate to the honor of Ungyo. You know, but give me more about those. I don't know what they're called. Divine Beasts they talk in the General's passives. We might get them as IDs. We just straight up might get them as IDs. And with that brand of Anobi sapping your strength, even your mastery with the blade will only dull. Well, yeah, we might just get their aspects, the people wearing their armor. But we might also just straight up get more lore for them when they release as IDs. Yeah, I know you don't mean the armor, right? You mean like the mythology itself. You want to know more about the mythology itself. And I'm saying we'll learn more about them when the people with the armor, with the generals, become IDs. Are you to be my executioner, Gyeongyo? I hadn't received the orders to behead you, if that's what you're asking. Nor would it befit someone of my station to sully my hands with an executioner's duty. How will you live on now? I don't know. The counselor has abandoned me. There is no path forward. Yeah, no doubt. We already got one Chunoku and we need the general now. I think past Kim will probably be a... I forgot what it's called. A costume. Salpipio Industries is more corrupt than I thought. A facade, yes. Rotten to the core. This is where the game ends. Time to resign my stone. Indeed it is. Why are you freeing me? Get with the name Salpipio. Why did Automon get you fish? Salpico. No, it flagged you for Latina ass. Once a game has been lost, you start anew and test other gambits in the next round. Why don't you stop playing this unfair game where the opponent always starts with stones placed on all 9 stop points on the board, and find a place where you can begin anew in equal standing? As soon as they realize it was you who freed me, they'll come after you. It's okay. Unlike someone who made a fool of himself and fled after passing the royal examinations, I have the royal court's backing as its military commissioner. My position in the court isn't so fickle that they will cast me down right away just because I let go of someone like you. You're a branded criminal. In the eyes of the royal court, you're as good as inconsequential. I'll report that even if you were to flee, you'd still be nothing more than a plaything in the palm of their hands. I didn't think you were the kind to go against your honorable principles. Some things can't be done without bending a rule or two, and you are needed. S-Corp's future is in need of those who are less bound by expectations, like yourself. Besides, it's not the rules I stand by, it's my own principles. I did say I owe you a token of gratitude, didn't I? Consider this a settlement of that. Gratitude and vengeance, after all, share a common quality. They are both debts to be repaid. Gyeongyo, come with me. There is no hope left for S-Corp. You said it yourself, didn't you? We'll never win as long as we're playing the rigged game. Listen, they might have a 9-turn advantage over you, but to me, it's as small as 3. I'll manage and keep my finger on the pulse. Besides, change doesn't always have to come from the outside. The old wisdom says that to catch a tiger, you must enter its den, but wouldn't it help to have an ally within the tiger's den to back you up when the time comes? Nah, all done. Your bonds are severed. Go now. Go and build your strength beyond the walls of Escort. Yet beware of relying overmuch on foreign powers. I don't have it in me to take up such grand purpose. I'm done with Escort. You know how I am. I just go with the flow. Yes. Do as you will. Go with the flow. Be whatever you want to be. I'm just hoping that the currents of the river will someday bring you back to Escort. That's all. Though I had left the rigged game, my records afterward weren't stellar. The laying of the stones on my board was always full of holes and mistakes. Does it count as glaze that they say he's actually weaker than he used to be? That's why he loses. No, that's not. I don't think that's glaze. Feels more like backhanded glaze. No, that's not even a good. That's not even a good reference. No, that's actually like an admittance of an oddity that he can lose. He is flawed. In a way, it sets up character, but it's not quite great. Because you're all you're doing is saying he used to be stronger. And now he's not. All he has done prior to this intervallo is lose. That's true, yeah. First the library and then the fathoms. But then again, it's not like we have infinite retries. I joined the Blade lineage, became their mentor, dragged them into the library, until eventually, I cut down those who had placed their faith in me. Self-defeating move after self-defeating move. Lost his dudes when he escaped, lost his dudes in the library, lost his dudes in the... No, he didn't lose his dudes when he escaped. First he lost the person he looked up to, then he rebuilt, lost the people he rebuilt in the library. He didn't lose his dudes to Kurokumo. Or... No, wait, yeah, he did. He was in a losing battle and then he distorted and then killed his own dudes because holy shit, nothing I do fucking matters. I'm just gonna keep losing from this point on. When Gyeong had let me go, I thought I had escaped the Tiger's Maw. But as I let the game progress with the flow, I soon came to the realization that my life was an endless sequence of connect and dies. Yep, there it is. There it is, that's exactly what I said. This is a different story than Mur, because it seemed he ran to the other counselor in the Mur fight to threaten him, then he got branded. Yes. That is true. In the other one, the Chancellor did die. Or so I think. In that mirror world, the Chancellor did die. So he got to the other guy, to the other Chancellor, and managed to threaten him successfully, and then fled. This guy saw that his mentor was also corrupt. So yeah, Mersault, as far as we know, isn't a Nobi. I was in a losing play from the start. Shadows dancing by the distant humanoid form began to grow like wildfire, and those in the attire of the Blade lineage, one by one, leapt over the wall and approached us, like the projections of Kim's darkening fathoms. They're from his memories. Films and photographs can sometimes remain undoctored, but the impressions a person gets from viewing the photograph is malleable. Then they must be after... Yeah. Kim believes that if the Blade lineage were to come back to life, they would want to kill him.
귀하들의 전투는 늘 낭부를 불러오지. 기대하겠네.
Oh, it's this targeted one.
비록 좀 볼까?
반듯한 일격이었어. 실로 군다가 되었군.
So, as far as we know, Mersault in the ID is just pure aura farming. He is the impression of bamboo-headed Kim in his distorted form.
그래, 그게 정석이지.
And it naturally fit Mersault because, holy shit. Yeah, just not properly leveled like the Nurse Father IDs. Yeah, because he's from an earlier season, so the Golden Bow was weaker.
취하기라도 했는지. 돈은
Well, you
처음
could
먹은
say
데다가
he might be properly leveled now.
물러서지 않겠습니다.
칼을 베어내
모두께서도 저런 위험을 보였으면 배워야 할 것을 배울 때가 있었지요.
That in getting a new impression of Kim, we can adjust our view of a mirror world, of an ID.
팬.
What if we get an Encore Mook ID? Probably next Kanto.
저런 실수도 나오는구나.
가치는 떨어지는 법이지.
Like, most definitely next Kanto. Because next Kanto is N-Corp itself.
물러서지 않겠습니다.
Why does Isang have the eye? Oh, that's not Isang? Who the fuck is that? You're overlaid on top of... Who are you? Secret Ryoshu Blade Lineage ID? Kim Undertale.
대안에는 충분합니다.
It's Faust.
살고자 하는 모든 것들
Probably.
무덤으로 돌아가라.
No, wait.
혹시 아니?
Oh, wait, that is straight up Kim. I didn't see him. I didn't think he was in this battle. He's been not fighting anything. Brand, no.
앵구야, 아 네가 하면 농이 아니라 진담 같으니 부디 그러지 말았으면 좋겠구나. 검은 지금 것으로
Okay. Shit, what's the lore? What's the lore? Yep, there's to claim their bones. He just appears. He only mentions Kim Salt after I realize he was there. He mentions Kim Salt. I haven't realized I had them on. I haven't seen heard the sinners talking. I kind of tuned that out. I've been reading this up here.
물러서지 않겠습니다.
Lay lineage are kind of quiet, yeah.
귀하들이라면 능히 이길 것이라 우두? 벌써 어딜 가십니까?
걔가 할 필요도 없어 보이니 방에 가서 세상 돌아가는 모습이나 보려 한다.
테레비나 보시겠다는
Someone carrying a sword in his belt and a sack on his shoulder leaped into a haystack near us. A few moments later, a small squad of Chunokuns, torches in hand, rushed in from the same direction the man had come from. We saw a criminal who has coveted the kingdom's properties flee in this direction. Speak up if you have seen the wretch. The Chunokuns began walking up to the civilians and questioning them about the criminal's whereabouts. Despite all having seen the man jump into a haystack, all of them shake their heads and refuse to give up the criminal. Are they hiding them for some reason? Soon, the Chunokuns, having made their way through the crowd, approached us as well. What should we do? Say you don't know. Point them to the wrong direction. Yeah, it's a blade lineage. Yep. You went that way, huh? Appreciate the assistance. Once the group of Chunokuns hurried toward the direction I pointed them towards, the man crawled out of the haystack. Seeing that Chunokuns had gone, some of the civilians walked up to the man and gave their thanks. Good work, you. Can't have those vile Chunokun take a noble thief like you away. A thief of the people. You're wretches, I say, wretches. So, well fed while we all starve. I bet they'll bleed rice if we got him. He returned our gratitude with a polite bow that approached us. You have my thanks. I might expect to be shielded by outsiders such as yourselves. That this is a welcome surprise. Who am I, you ask? Well, I have no name to give you, but it seems that the common folk have taken to calling the like-minded the Blade lineage. I'm only stealing the sacks of rice the corrupt officials have stolen, and returning them to where they belong, just as mentor bamboo-headed Kim had once done. Kim squeaked out a small, embarrassed cough. I've lingered here too long, you're already on my trail again. It's about time I saw myself off. In a hurry, he bade us to wait a moment as he rummaged through his sack and produced a few packages of food. Take these if it's not much. Take these, it's not much, but it should be quite filling for those on the road like yourselves. Gratitude and vengeance, after all, share a common quality. They are both depths to be repaired, eh? With that, he withdrew into the shadows. He actually just straight up forgot there were subtitles. They added subtitles now.
동주상구 같은 배를 탔으니 돕긴 도와야겠지.
Yeah, no mention, they don't say anything.
앵두가
모두도 도우셔야 합니다. 모지스 아씨가 눈 감아준다고 자꾸 그렇게 눈덩이를 부리시면 저는 눈물을 머금고 다른 두 분께 이 사실을 반듯한 일격이었어. 실로 군더더기였군.
태어난 곳으로 돌아와. 대안은 충분합니다.
그래, 그게 정석이지.
랜다 사활을 건너.
Well, I'm about to fight now, so... I don't actually think we'll get a reflect trial for this boss. I think we'll soon be getting a reflect trial for Bamboo-Headed Kin.
과거일 뿐이지. 본국 제일검도
I think we will get that one first. And the reflect trial for this boss would be on its rerun.
하고될 시간이다. 잔후.
Because, like, we have cool older bosses that... Well, I'm not running... I do kind of have to read. So I guess I'll find out.
생멸.
적의 기술에
물의
불을
불수록
꺾인
가치는 떨어지는 법이지.
취하기라도 했는지 도는 수가 엉망이 됐더구나.
사고들 시간이다. 잔후에. 팽. 살고자 하는 모든 것들과 함께 흙 속에 파묻혀라.
귀하들이라면 능히 이길 것이라 우두? 벌써 어딜 가십니까?
개가 할 필요도 없어 보이니 방에 가서 세상 돌아가는 모습이나 보려 한다.
Boss time.
테레비나 보시겠다는 말 아닙니까?
True.
잘 됐네.
Learn the gimmick or perish. Like a prey backed against the cliff's edge, I am left bereft of paths. My hand hesitates with no room to place the stone. Misjudgments burgeon when contemplations harrow the mind indeed. Now all that remains is to neutralize that one enemy combatant in the yard. So the pattern will stay the same, but I think it's temporary refraction on first intervallo and permanent on the rerun. Probably, yeah. Or no, maybe it's because it was a brand. I think. Oh god, this might get confused. Like, it could be temporary refract on when Intervallo first appears. It could be. But it. Let me think here. Yeah, because Rufus was the first one. So. It just might be that that one was temporary because it was the first run of yeah, there's no pattern. We literally have 2 points of data right now. Tell me, who's waiting for us in there? You should know, this place and its enemies are projections of your memories. Not the hardest guess to make, is it? I expect to find Im Gyornyop in there. Gyornyop was a woman of loyalty and principles. Even as a military commissioner, she never stopped wanting to change the way the royal court was. But even she must have broken in the end. I scoured the newspapers and TV for anything I could find of the current state of Escort, but it was plain as day that nothing had changed there since my departure. Mentor, is that not but a baseless speculation? Your concerns grown uncontrollably? Never have you spoken to us about such a monstrous one in the past. Thus, what lies before you is but a figment of distortion reflecting upon your memories. Did this Im Gyornyop appear as that monster does, Mentor? No. Gyornyop wasn't like that. Gyornyop. I still believe that Salpipio and the agro industries deserves to die. But destruction's not the point. The point is that I want it to be a place where I can cut away the avaricious corrupted and have it be a wing that cares for its common folk. If I didn't know better, I would have thought you were seeking to supplant the current Escort. You know that's not what I'm talking about. I'm just a wanderer, floating down the river's flow to where currents take him. When the river bent and I hit a wall, someone picked me up and made a blade out of me. Once abandoned, I returned to the flow and found myself a mentor to those who afforded me the undeserved faith. And the river continues to wind, carrying me back to, Escorp, whence I had fled. Shall I let this blade sing my inner thoughts? You think I'm satisfied with the way Escorp is? But your method, as it is now, goes against the principles. I expected better from someone of your wiles. If you enjoy those principles so much, then why ask me to leave the game? Because someone has to stay behind and try to bring change within the limits of their principles. I only hope that one of those bands in that river of yours would float you back to knock on the gates of Escorp once it was primed for change. Has that changed? What do you think? You, at least, seem to think that I have. Because you believe that I shall stand in your path. Stand in my path. And stem the flow of this river evermore. Very well. The law states a denial of the will of the royal court is a crime deserving of death by beheading. Pure aura versus babyface. True. I am Yo-Yo, second ordinance of the Salpipio Egger Industries, official of the sword, and military commissioner to the royal court, shall uphold the command and sever the buds of rebellion before they propagate. It could just be an art thing, like if Limbus Company does somehow end up in anime, I bet this would look so much cooler.
어디 기록 좀 볼까?
Oh, but it's to claim my... You know what? I'll neutral you. Alright. I think I need to clash with her once to get that. Turn start, gain or lose 2 swordplay of the homeland. Stack based on battle form of the homeland. Yep. In the turn where this unit equipped enemy skills, this unit would not be affected by swordplay of the homeland. And we'll reset to stack. Okay. Take reduced damage. The only effects of fixed panic. The 3 court circles of Salpip and Pyo each remain the standard Dujung Brigandine of Fescorp and perform suited into their own doctrines. The old entail say that Sal has ever been the first to spearhead a slaughter, eager to cleave the enemy's flesh before any other. The P harvests the blood and spills forth from each open flesh wound and turns it into endurance on the battlefield. The Pyo takes the close of a slaughter. They part one joint from the other, bringing an enemy to their knees, then a blade to the neck bone finishes the collective act of killing. Can I read the battle form status effect lore? I have. I believe I have. Though I didn't check after I first saw the Sal one. Or well, the first battle form. Let's see, this one seems important. Conditions met. Use the pattern that includes bow in the homeland, arrow loose. Lost all clashes for 2 turns in a row. Does not... oh. The turn after a stagger or when in low morale or panic. Sword of the Homeland, past in a Sal Court Circle, is not, at its heart, an art of killing. To cut and cut again until blood runs dry and his bones laid bare. That is the essence of this art that strips the opponent's flesh into ribbons. That is swordplay of the Homeland practiced by Sal. There are those who persevere in training for a lack of talent, and there are those blessed with talent owing to their rust. I've read this one. This flesh I claim. Yeah, I read this one. I didn't read the other ones.
그래, 그게 정석이지.
귀하들의 전투는 늘 낭구를 불러오지. 기대하겠네.
어디 기록 좀 볼까?
You can see it in the passive? Oh, right. Tigers are cunning and ferocious. One cannot hope to cut through a tiger's flesh with a single stroke. Only a relentless flurry of chain slashes can overwhelm the creature until it is felled at last. Fail to do so, that tiger will escape death, or best its opponent to one day grow into a sangrum, a lord of the mountain. Whether these beings will grant auspicious fortune on men or return as malevolent calamity is impossible to tell. Okay, and then there's this. It's only those two.
망설임이 없도록.
숨을 거둔다.
아름다운 것. 그렇지 않은 것.
생각이 많아지니 저런 실수도 나오는구나.
Oh, something else is lighting up. No, I don't need that right now.
망설임이 없도록. 복을
Stone them.
정성을 들여 빌어보시오.
Uh-oh. Oh.
잠깐, 당신들
모두 진정하십시오. 저들은 모종의 방법으로 다시 회복할 수 있을 뿐.
Hey, lucky.
나를 손으로 잘라낼 수 있다면
써야 할 때가 왔고
이래서 내가 이러기
시생멸 오래
위험한 일에
필수록
몸담은
가치는
이상.
떨어지는 법이지.
이런 일인데
범이 무섭다고 산에 가지 않으면 결국 굶어 죽을 뿐입니다. 모두도 아시지 않습니까?
Really hate saying do this turn. Now that one was just unnecessary. Honestly, you could have just left it with, I hope you have a doctor, because that implies some impending doom.
무덤으로 돌아가라.
동주 상구 같은 데를 탔으니 돕긴 도와야겠지. 물론 나 말고 앵두가.
모두도 도우셔야 합니다. 모제스 아씨가 눈 감아준다고 자꾸 그렇게
Wait, what's your envy? Just normal. Oh, but you are weak to pride.
이 사실에 실패했어.
Then I shouldn't. Because I wanted to lose power. Yeah, no doubt. if we do go by my idea of that this reflect trial would be on the rerun, there would have to be the Chunokuns. You know, the other S-Corp IDs. Though, no doubt the Kurokumo would play a role. Yeah, Kuro and BL definitely for a Kim trial. For this one, I don't know, it could just be speed based. Yeah, like Blade Lineage N-Corp, or we could just have another Hey Show jump scare. Cause why not? Just a team that outspeeds. Was there? What are you targeting? The first one? And what are you targeting? That one. I will need to use an ego.
이 몸이 직접 손봐야겠네. 태어난 곳으로 돌아가.
귀하들이 살뜰리는 전투를 좋아하는 건 알겠는데
This could go horribly.
그래도 살릴 수 있는 돌은 살리는 게 낫지 않나 싶군.
What? Kim, yield my flesh on this? No. Yeah. I didn't realize it ran out. Yeah, that is what I'm planning to do. Maybe clash with that last. Plus or minus? Plus. Okay.
물러서지 않겠습니다.
No, she's still at 2. Yeah.
동주상구 같은 데를 탔으니 돕긴 도와야겠지. 물론 나 말고 앵두사.
No, he's powered up.
모두도 도우셔야 합니다. 모제스 아씨가 눈 감아준다고 자꾸 그렇게 농땡이를 부르시면 저는 눈물을 머금고 다른 두 분께 이 사실을 실으면서
This is bear. Okay. Even this.
반듯한 일격이었어. 실로 전가가 되었다.
He staggers this time. To the... Yeah, Crow's Eye View might have well been useless.
앵두야,
시생멸
왜 갑자기 아무 말도 안
오래
하고
필수
아.
없으면 떨어지는 법이지.
덧붙일 말이 없을 만큼 형세가 유리해서 그랬습니다. 심심하시면 시라도 죽게 운이라도 띄울까요?
아니 됐다. 조용히 있어.
I do not have blue.
물러서지 않겠습니다. 팽 살고자 하는 모든 것들과 함께 무덤으로 돌아가라.
반응은 적의 기세가 풀이 꺾인 것 같네만.
취하기라도
I think I just... No, not like that.
엉망이 됐더구나.
At 7 in there.
사고될 시간이
Go.
잔후에
Go. Make one anyway. Leaves her at 2 HP? Come on! She's not as powerful as I recall. Yet, weighed down by the brand, I am not so far ahead or behind. I don't know. I think you're doing pretty well. Verily. They appear evenly matched yet. He's wielding that sword like he's trying to get himself killed. That blade work is far beneath him. Seeking the end here, is he? Can you afford to look away in a duel? What are you doing? You'd rather lock your sword with mine than parry it away? Can't have a proper sword fight without blade lock though, huh? Duel between the mentor of a syndicate and the military commissioner of escort is neck to neck. Clash after clash, the two warriors eventually lock their blades in a contest of might before it comes to close in a final fatal bout. When the dust settles, the mentor lies in the sand, dead. If that is what you want, I will grant it. Good. Let's finish this. Just as bamboo-headed Kim and Yongyap readied for their final bout, Ingduop leaped in between them. Indu? Are you really so ashamed that you would choose death over life, Mentor? Are you so scared to live that you would rather die? Yes, I am. I am scared. I am terrified of my own audacity to live my days as though I hadn't failed everything and everyone who had the misfortune of placing their faith in me. My mission, my honor, my fellows. As though my past isn't haunted by ghosts, as though I can stand shamelessly before watching the eyes of the heavens. What have I even done with the life that was given to me? Blind to the realities of my homeland, I served a master who chose politics over loyalty and justice. I cut down my very fellows who chose to trust a fool like me. I walked my entire life as the flow carried me, and when I finally had the mind to look back, all I saw were blood-red traces everywhere I had gone. Isn't it about time I admitted that this game cannot be won? That... Mentor, the weakness in your strength has failed your mission. The weakness in your position has failed your honor, and the weakness in your heart had become the fiendish blade that cut down your fellows. And do? I thought you were here to talk me into keep on living, yet your words pain me so. What weakness of yours is it this time, that you would cast away your own creed and life? What other weakness will you use as an excuse today? Stop trying to bear responsibilities asked not of you. The Blade lineage was never about responsibility, nor was it about you, Mentor. Or does your overbearing guilt help you to overestimate your importance? What's that saying again? Fellow travelers in the same boat will aid one another? Not a single soul demanded that of you. Talk about kicking a man when he's down. And I have had enough of that flippant locking of yours. We all have. You truly believe that not a single one of us had picked up on the fact that all your levity was a means of relieving yourself of the burden you had cast upon your shoulders? None of us ever demanded some impossible feat from you. What was it that you've always said to describe yourself? That you are but a butchering blade that wields not itself, a tool wielded by willing hands. Why, mentor, I know not what kind of shame or responsibilities a mere tool has, do you? Do you? Because I fail to see any. If the shame does not subside still, then shroud your face with that bamboo hat of yours and live on. Holy. Live on so that you may repay your debts. Out of blades, out of arrows. Even the heart that sought death lies defeated at your feet. There is no stone left for my next gambit. There is nothing more. Indeed. Perhaps there was some merit in your words that I must retreat from this silly game of stones and become a fiend of blades. Mentor? That is not what I said. Interesting. Whence did you hear that poem? Yes. Well inverted, a bamboo hat is like an unladen ship. Engdu and Imgyonop were knocked away from bamboo-headed Kim as though bounced off by an invisible force. To carry on, my wayward chud. Kim raises his gaze to meet the empty air as though someone were there, a hollow laughter escaping his lips. We know who he's talking to. It's the voice. Come on, we know you can. Manifest. Come on. But your last move was not a good one. Indeed, I did wish to become a blade. And what did you do? Forge me into an indiscriminate one that cleaves blindly into friend and foe both. It seems that, in your excitement, you have cornered yourself with that last move. Well, as it seems that I have had an opportunity to retrace our past moves, allow me to try something different this time. Be not so vexed by this round. As you say, we never know what the next game shall bring. I appreciate and will treasure the other bits of your advice, but let us play by my rules for tonight's game. Something's different this time, ain't it? He's saying "in it" a lot more. He ain't distorting. I think that's an efflorescence, perhaps. Nothing. Ominous bells. Nothing is for certain, indeed. Yet I trust that the words of my last remaining follower have also reached your ears. I am but a tool wielded by willing hands. Nothing in my life has ever been certain. I know not whether this move is what cements my defeat, but I desire to be a victorious stone nonetheless. Thank you. I will take what encouragement I can. The strange, invisible pressure dissipates, and the armored woman, Im Gyeongyo, readjusts her grip on the sword. Kim turned around to look at her, and I saw that a weighty shadow seemed to have been lifted from his face, replaced by a mix of relief and determination. A bit embarrassing to change my stance now, but now I fight to live. And I suppose you'll be okay with that. Of course. To hide from heaven's gaze, this hat I wore. An empty boat, it bore my friends along. Bamboo veiled, we drift from shore to shore. With wine, I don my hat to watch blooms thaw. Mirth, I doff that shroud to boon adore. So with this bamboo hat to veil my brow, Though winds and rain may rage, I shall not grow. Hie to me, bamboo-hatted one. Speak your name, for I find your outfit dubious of character. I am he who has mentored the lineage of blades to its premature end. I am he who has sought to bring salvation to the downtrodden, to no avail. What? To call a man who has failed to disburden himself with the world? How to name a man who has failed to bear the weight of the world? There is none. So call me Bamboo-Hatted Kim. Bamboo-Hatted Kim, the treasonous wretch.
귀하들이라면 능히 이길 것이라 우두? 벌써
Honestly, it's still aura. It was still. Can the sound stop? Abzicus came and successfully managed to face his own past, when the photographs and memories that we were overlaid upon the fathoms are pulled away. What remains is a man in dirty, ragged clothing. The fathoms of Escorp slowly lose grip on this world. Well, no, his distortion was him veiled in shadows. Just the absolute menace. The traitor. The one who will slay all. I think his ego is just the hat and the sword. His ego is himself because he is no longer a tool. It's just him and the stuff that represents him. A hat and a blade. And soon reveals the fathoms of the distortion that was hidden beneath it. I see residents of the backstreets in their blissful highs from taking the canned experiences, and a man who's watching them with disapproval. Why? Why is everyone running away from all this? A baker always surrounded by the smell of freshly baked bread? A florist who makes lovely bouquets for graduating youngsters? A photographer who captures beautiful sights to remember? They're our lives, our experiences. You want to be a billionaire with an extravagant mansion and nest? A legendary fixer who can make the syndicates cower in fear just by going on a stroll? What you get from those cans is not real. Is everything in your lives, all of this, just empty means to an end so you can get high on fake purchased experiences nailed into a can? If that's all your life is, then my life, the photographs are taken, no, it can't be. My life, those experiences and memories I photographed are different. You're all blindly consuming fake experience after fake experience, without a care about the real thing. That's why you're all floundering, grasping at illusions. So let me show you the things I've shot, the memories, the experiences, the reality of your lives. It's only in passing, but I glimpse an unmistakable grimace, a scowl on Mersault's face. That is a much better way to leave. Have a good night, Cornelius. I reflected upon the events of today and could at least begin to guess as to why that might be. You don't believe there's any experience in either the canned experience or that guy's photographs, do you, Mersault? Because experiences and memories aren't the same thing. What really distinguishes them, I wasn't sure. Correct, manager. But what I knew was that the distinction was, for whatever reason, important to Mersault. Huh? A figure materializes into humanoid forms rolling out of the projector. He must be the distortions. And next to him is another figure, stumbling out in a giant suit of armor. But blimey, that thing's still alive? It is but an overlay of fathoms created within a distorted space. The concept of life and death has little meaning for such a thing. Yet faint does she grow. It must be that the distortion's power is waning. Hark, accused one, for these are your crimes. The crime of fomenting chaos in a foreign wing while impersonating Chinokuns of Salpipio Agro Industries. The crime of exploiting the suffering of Salpipio Agro Industries, downtrodden as a mere veil for one's own fathoms. And, though it be but a part of reenactment, impersonating a military commissioner of the kingdom without the royal decree. Pursuant to the law of the homeland, the accused is to be sentenced to death by beheading. Before we even had the chance to step in or anything, the faint mirage-like warrior brought down a sword on the docugrapher's neck, decapitating him. Ah. Can an entity of the fathoms slay one outside it? Such an instance has heretofore never been observed, but as it is happening right now, right before our eyes, I can only say yes. Going up is a woman of principle. She would have done the same to the bitter end had she truly been here. As the headless body of the inflection point crumples onto the floor, Im Gyeong-up's shape slowly phases out of reality. And we found ourselves back in the projection room. And there... No way! Don't tell me that headless corpse is... We found a large group of injured N-Corp staff thrown pell-mell about the room, and Ezra was looking down at the headless body of the docugrapher.
승부수가 먹혀들었군. 판세는 완벽히 우리에게 있었다.
Awesome.
정착지를 찾을 때까지
And I can now
이
buy
기세를
Honglu.
잃지 않기를.
Yep, right on. Gotcha, team leader. And that's the initial report done. Good work, guys. Tucking her radio back in, as recommended us in a relief voice. The distortion has perished in the mission. Would that not cause trouble? Yeah, that kinda sucks, but it's not like yeah guys could help it. Would have thought that the distortion would kill its own inflection point. If we knew that in advance, we probably would have prepared something to stop it, but... Well, that's for the LCD team and team leader to investigate. All in all, this mission was still a success, since we managed to eradicate the distortion from N-Corp, not to mention satisfying our client. Also, there's our look forward toward Engdu and Kim, with a lighthearted shrug, no less concerned than she had been earlier. Now I finally know why you've been disappearing on your own without letting us know. Glad you don't seem to have any more reason to, though, so it's all good. Hey, that's the real win of the mission in my book. Woo-wee! The point is, we did it! We did the thing! It's done! Gosh, I swear I'm never doing one of these without a team leader ever again. Seriously, I got this close to losing it more than a few times. It seemed that the responsibility of looking after her LCD juniors had kept her stressed and high-strung throughout the mission. I hadn't noticed it, but her brows had finally relaxed, bringing back the chipper Ezra I was more familiar with. Thus, I shall not abide by more of your indolence. You will now join us on missions and tasks as yours expected to. Is that understood, Mentor? Hey, dude, would you mind releasing the hems of my sleeve? Oh, what I wouldn't give to lie down and pass out right about now. The raw emotion in Kim's voice had likewise faded, and with Engu's voice no longer as barbed as it had been in the Fathoms, it seemed to me that the two were back to the more relaxed selves I knew. Can't exactly say more relaxed for Kim, though, because that's how he's always been, at least from what I've seen. In any case, fine. You are released. Whew. You give me a good, hard shake. I don't feel so good. Say, anything new? I'm afraid they may have gone overboard with upgrading your arm. With your hem released, allow me to reiterate that. Stop. Stop. My heart finds peace as well as I watch them bicker. Is everyone doing okay? Yes, Executive Manager. Our forces have only suffered minor injuries that do not require you to go through the trouble of rewinding the clock. Hang on, mate. I got a dislocated shoulder. I can pop that right back into place for you. Allow me. I've taken care of similar injuries in the field. Yeah, guess what happened last time I let you do that? You rotated my bloody arm the wrong way and turned the bones of my shoulder to little chips. Don't sweat it. I can rewind that. By now, I've already grown used to the pain of rewinding the sinner's injuries. A dislocated shoulder shouldn't be a big deal. I have on to ask thee clarification, if thou wilt. Yeah? Dost thou recall how, as we battled the N-Corp's pin frame team, the foes have taken photographs of us? And they are those who were sent to identify and capture the one who have violated a taboo, forsooth? As we stood in their path, there's no mystery why we had come to blows, yet I find this the most perplexing. Wherefore did they take so many photographs of us? Maybe they were taking photographs to report their locations? Recording footage is taboo in N-Corp, meaning they can't install security cameras here. Their only option for keeping a consistent record then when tracking down a case or a person is by photographs. Thine words hold water yet. Most puzzling, forsooth. For I recall with clarity that, from a certain point, they had begun photographing us with renewed obsession. Oh, hey, that sounds like a question from Masal. You know, tonight to rely on the information Masal provided me in this mission, I think I've gotten enough practice on how to phrase my questions the right way and pull the answers I need from him. Couldn't get him to tell us his own judgments on matters, but since he seems to have a near photographic memory of what I've seen... Mersal, do you remember how many pictures of us the N-Corp staff took? I do. 56 times. That's a lot of pictures. Do you actually remember the exact number of times they shot us? I do. It's always so neat seeing his memory in action. So, did you get the chance to see which one of us got the most photographs taken? I did. Ooh, who is it? Who is it? Is it me? I'm a refined model if I do say so myself. No, it wasn't you. It was me. Huh? But why? I mean, what's the most statistically likely reason that it was you? It was at that moment I heard the sound of pebbles crunching under boots approaching us, louder and louder. What the heck? Encore. No, dang it. Are you here because we beat up some of you guys? Listen here, we had to because of the distortion, see? It is as she says. The skirmish was an unfortunate consequence of combating the distortion phenomenon. Limbus Company provides a customer damage compensation program in case of such unforeseen events. Instead of engaging us in battle, please select to contact the emergency response team at our headquarters as your first. Yes, we fully understand the circumstances surrounding the battle, and we intend to submit an expeditious request for damage compensation, as you have recommended. But we are here on different business, so if you would be so kind as to let us speak. Different business? They are here to arrest me, manager. Hold on, let's hear them. Wait, what? Rason did not resist. He walked past us and joined a group of N-Corp employees. Please confirm that you are Mersault, formerly One Who Nails, and a former member of the maintenance and management team at Grand Mega Synthesis Headquarters. Whoa, what do you mean, One Who Nails? Confirmed. By the decree of the Giants, you have been expelled from NCORP with imprisonment as the penalty for non-compliance. Pursuant to Article 12 of the eviction regulations, you have also been informed that remaining in NCORP's district for more than 6 hours may subject you to immediate arrest. Please confirm that your memory pertaining to the above incident has not been expunged, and that you are of sound mind to recall it entirely. In entirety. Confirmed. Very well. Then, in keeping with the regulations, I hereby notify you that you are now subject to arrest and transport. Place your hands behind your back and please offer no resistance. I am required to inform you that resistance may incur further penalties. Wait, stop! What the hell is going on? Wait, forget all that! Did you know this would happen, Mersal? Mersal, who stood calmly with his arms behind his back as the NCORP employees handcuffed him, nodded placidly in my direction. I did, manager. Why the heck did you walk? It's less of a question, more a reflex, but I didn't need to hear his reply to know why. Right. I never asked, did I? You did not. I'd say you should have warned us way earlier, but you just reply, I will follow those instructions going forward, right? Yes, I would. Subject now in custody. From this moment onward, you are considered a suspect and will be transported to NCORP headquarters for your trial. As for the rest of you, will you be the organization the suspects is part of? Organize your ass! What the bloody hell do you think you're... Heathcliff, you are about to antagonize NCORP, a wing. In the absence of a reasonably justifiable cause, such as a contract, engaging in battle with the city's corporate entities is strongly discouraged. Yeah? And we're supposed to twiddle our thumbs while they drag him away? This must be another piece of information they neglected to tell me. Yet another development that was set in stone. Despite her calm and collected explanation, I could tell this was not a pleasant situation for Faust either, as she was sending an uncomfortable glance at the NCORP employees. So where are you taking him? A retrial will be scheduled for the execution of the exile's sentence. They replied dispassionately as they took Mersal into custody. We looked back at them, not knowing what to do or say. The late afternoon sun pricked at us like 1,000 hot needles. Mersal, now in cuffs, gazed at us with an expression that would not have seemed out of place on any ordinary day. Just skip to it. Just release the canto.
제가 분명 말했죠? 뛰어봤자 벼룩이라니까요.
What are you, Mersal? What are you? Yeah, I got most Mersal shards. I think I'm just gonna end it here. What the fuck? Just skip to the next. Just skip to the next one. What the hell?